What's up? Hey, good Sunday evening, everybody. What is happening on this wonderful Sunday night? Well, afternoon.
What's up? Hey, good Sunday.
Oops, we had a little bit of an echo there. What's up, Matt? What's up, Heidjer?
Hey. Heidjer's still muted.
Heidjer's still muted. Of course, I knew somebody would forget. Somebody had to forget, of course. No worries.
I'm getting a lot of feedback. There was a lot of an echo. I don't know where that was coming from.
No worries. Well, I had echo because on my other tab it came on.
I don't know where that was coming from.
Well, that's on you. That's on your other tab. You have to.
They're on mute.
In order to be able to type through on YouTube on the other tab, you have to still mute my show on that tab. Type through so that it plays, but it doesn't. We don't hear it through the microphone. No, Don't mute yourself here on StreamYard. No.
Don't mute yourself.
Muted. I don't know what it was coming from.
Mute the YouTube video.
Right. The YouTube video you're watching in the other screen.
Everything is muted.
Right.
It's not me.
Video you're watching in the other screen.
Is it you, Ruben?
No, I've got it on mute.
It's not me.
It has to be Heidjer.
Ruben?
No, I've got it on mute.
It's not me. Everything is off on my side.
No, I've got it on mute. Okay, but you've got the show in one tab, and right, like you've got StreamYard open, right, where you logged in to be with us, and then in another tab you're on YouTube, correct? So that you said you wanted to type messages.
No, there's a different one. Is it better now?
Yes.
Right now I'm not hearing anything. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what that was. It was that was weird because it wasn't on anything else. Oh, okay. It's fixed now.
All right, that only took a couple of minutes. What's up?
Everybody's awake now and deaf, so that's good.
He was like, "This show's going to be shorter than usual."
Yeah. Oh my gosh. What's up, everybody? Holy crap! Sorry about that. Always have some interesting, fun issues, technical glitches, and whatnot. Whatever, that's all good. It's all good. It gives you guys time to pop in. Already a couple of dozen in the first 4 minutes, which is good. It usually takes like 15 minutes to get to 2-3 dozen. So,
Ruben, I have to say, NBC is, it's very brave of them to put the Emmys out there while you're posting this and Heritage at the same time. So, I mean, good of them to be so brave. So there you go.
I know. Their ratings are going to die tonight. What can I tell you? But, it is what it is. Yeah. Well, they'll survive, I'm sure. All right, let us pop in to see who's in the room. A lot of comments already coming in. So let's see who's here first. Mr. Red Jack, what's up, Brian? Hope you're doing well. Early as usual. And look at you, Heidjer. You were the second one saying hello.
Hello.
Jason Ladwig, what's up? Good evening to you, sir. Tom, don't know what many I seen say prices weren't cheap on anything I liked. Okay. Guess you didn't get anything. Murdoch, at this point, HA is just a really upscale mall I'll look at and never buy anything at. But is this really just like a recent thing, Murdoch? I mean, honestly, Vivian. Hey, Vivian. Thank you for the support as always. Welcome back to Matt and Heidjer. The Rickster, what's up? Good evening to you, sir. And Corey Rust, what's up, man? Good to see you. Didn't see many deals on lower end items either, really? Interesting. I'll be kind of quiet tonight watching Tangled with the family. I appreciate you doing double duty, Corey. That's pretty cool of you. Ignoring your family while, you're pretending you're with them, but you're really like sneaking to the side on your phone, I appreciate that. Marcus, as long as the catalog is free. I don't know. I mean, I get the catalog. I look at it really quickly, and then I put it in the recycle bin. I don't know. I have friends who say they complain they don't get the catalog for some reason, and then they whine about it. I don't know. I don't know what the big deal is.
I always hear Robin Leach go in the background showing you things you can't afford. making you feel like the lowest of low.
Hey, man, the market's
That's
what
why
it
I
is,
keep
right?
champagne around. If you keep champagne around, at least you feel special, you know?
That's right.
That's right. That's right. Jeff Wedding. Greetings to you, my
Hey, Jeff.
friend. And we got Tom McDonald in the house. What's up? Saying that Heritage's notifications suck. Always free to look and daydream. That is true. It doesn't cost you anything. You know, you have some fun. Go Bears. We'll see. You can let us know. Since it's not the Lions, unfortunately, Mr. Ladwig, our Lions didn't come through for us today. This is very disappointing. And my Patriots, of course, also blew it. And so not a great football day, football week for me. And CJ, what's up? Evening to you, sir. And I bid higher and higher, was under bidder on a few, helped them get a few bucks, but it didn't help you get any art, right? Yes, hello, CJ, hello. And of course, Marcus with the Hail Heidjer. Sounds kind of racist. We'll let it go.
I'll take all the hails I can get. It's okay.
Exactly. Dwayne's a pain, says his grandma. What's up, Dwayne? What is up? Oklahoma wins it this week, my friend. They won it, but I don't know. Jury's still out on them. Let's just leave it there. Good evening to you, John Brown. What's happening? Hey, CJ, I have Echo and the Bunny Man. Yeah, it's all fixed now. Hey, all, what's up, Alberto? The foodie from Spain. Having some fun with some high-class, high-end chefs, it looks like, this weekend.
Nice.
Yeah. Alberto's into the high-end cuisine. He's into the Michelin-starred restaurants. Judging by the food I see him posting on Instagram, you know? To mute or not to mute? What's up, Mike? Good to see you. Apparently we mute all the time and we forget and stay stuck on mute. Check the coffee maker. That went over my head. Sam Maroney, what's up? Mr. Ohio, what's up with you? Calm down. You're going to piss Heidjer off. Nah, he never gets pissed off. He's always good. I bet Alberto didn't lose today. Yeah, I'm sure he got something. Let's see if he admits it, though. The call is coming from inside the house. It's okay. We like to hear Ruben twice. Not on Echo, though. Even I don't like it. You won't like Heidjer when he's angry. Yeah, he's going to Hulk out some.
Filter.
Some Cyrus tonight. Why is Miley in Las Vegas? Is that what's happening over there? What does that mean, Tom? We got show me the Emmy. Yeah, well, I don't got one, so I can't show you mine. I haven't been on anything this weekend since Friday. Wow, interesting. Okay, trying to save up some money for something, I think. Hey, I'll calf meetup Friday night in Baltimore for those going. Nice. Yeah, it's good to see you put something together. Send me a note via my calf gallery if you're interested. All right, reach out then, peeps. Marks didn't win anything. Mark Melchior, or is it Melchior? Because I know with Joseph it's Melchior. And is that one
Mark.
of your? I was going to say, that's one of your friends, Matt?
Yep. My buddy Mark.
Yeah. Good to see you. Thanks for dropping in. Don't bid on much. Marcus doesn't bid on much. That's true. He's so selective. He's always very, very selective. One of the few people in the hobby who can just keep waiting, even though he likes a lot of stuff. He'll wait until he really loves and knows he wants it, you know? I admire that ability. Still time. Couple of Zec pages coming up. That's true. It ends with a Zec page, I believe. Pretty nice one, too. Anthony's always great to buy from. If Heritage sucks. Okay, Alberto never gives up. Hey, Maki Poo Poo. What's up, Michael? Either Micro bid on two things. Tangled is an all-timer. All right. Tangled rocks. What is up? John's Comics with Kids. What's up, John? Good to see you again. Tangled is a great movie, so these guys are all loving Tangled. Let's not talk about the Lions. I know. What can I tell you, man? It was, it was close. But, hey, 2 picks, by the way. He threw 2 picks. He wasn't on his game. So, yeah, that if you turn the ball over on picks like that twice, you typically don't win those games, you know? Hail Hydra. All the comic guys on YouTube say hail. Seems weird. I don't know what is it. Some kind of Nazism on YouTube. I don't want to get any rumors started or anything. Anybody get the Doomsday page? I was underbidder. G'day, David. What's up in Oz? And Lee. Good evening, gentle people. Nice. What's up? Good to see you. 300 ahead at Cyrus. Looks good, though. Still don't know what you mean by Cyrus.
Is she playing the Sphere?
Is that what's happening?
I think so.
Yeah. I don't discriminate any food. I like a nice burger just as much. Good. That's good, man. I love burgers. So, g'day, Matt and Heidjer from David Barr to you guys, if it was well, of course. Beef tongue, my favorite part of a cow. Gross. We'll admit I did win more beef. What's that, Heidjer?
It's good stuff. Tongue, it's nice.
Are you being serious?
Yeah, it's good.
You like that too?
But beef cheeks are divine.
Beef cheeks are bad. Yeah, awesome.
Oh my gosh. Okay. We'll move ahead. Chuck Arnold, what's up, hey? What's up, dude? Good to see you. Thank you for dropping in again. Didn't bid on anything, but I picked up a cover on eBay. Hey, congratulations. Doesn't matter where it comes from. You won something. That's cool. And what's up, Alex? I was the underbidder on Friday and went half today. What are you going to do? And Pata de Res is good cow. Okay. Have you had a root beer yet? Oh, I've had plenty of root beers. Just not root beer float. Stanley, you have to understand. Like I told Marcus the other day, I intend to try it. All right. But I'm telling you, where I live, I can't even remember the last time that I saw root beer float on the menu at an ice cream type parlor or a restaurant's dessert menu. So, I'm going to give it some time. And if I'm going to wait for this fall and winter to come, go through. And then by spring, summer of 2025, if I haven't found any place that has it, then I'll go out, I'll buy some root beer, I'll buy some vanilla ice cream just for you guys. I'll put a scoop in I don't even have a mug. I'll find something big enough to put a scoop of ice cream in. And then I'll taste it and I'll let you know what I think. All right, guys? All right. You guys seem to be...
Marcus needs to go up to Nova Scotia and visit Cal's Ice Cream. If you want vanilla ice cream, that's some of the best ice cream out there, period.
It also works at Guinness.
That too.
Osiris is the restaurant that Alberto went to. Okay. Thanks for clearing it up since Tom wouldn't do it.
300 a plate. Got it. Okay.
Aussie! What's up? The Brisbane Lions got into the grand finals. That's awesome. Good for you, David. Hey, at least some Lions did well today or this weekend. That's awesome. Look at Marcus whipping up the Spanish lengua. Look at that. And he's a fan too. I can find vanilla ice cream just fine. Trust me. It's America's favorite flavor, by the way, just for those of you who don't know, which shocked me when I read that because I was like, I always found it so boring. It's like really boring. I mean, that's why people say, when they talk about anything that's boring, like, that's so vanilla because it's boring. And yet it's still the best selling flavor out there.
You know where the expression cool comes from?
Cool? I have to admit, no, and I don't know when it started. Let me know if you happen to actually know for an actual fact.
Actually know. I actually know.
Okay.
So cool was sort of an early beatnik response to old jazz lingo of that's hot. And so people are like, well, if that's hot, I'm cool. Like I don't want a part of that square shit.
Oh. So what would that have been going back to the 30s, 40s, or 50s?
40s.
40s? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Enters the common vernacular in the 1950s with the advent of rock and roll because it became one of those things like, I think originally it's probably more about folk and Americana stuff as opposed to jazz. And then it became about rock and roll. Okay. Yeah, because for me, my memories of it go back to the 50s, and I don't quite remember seeing any video of any kind from the 40s where somebody says it, uses it, any kind of media whatsoever, whether it's books, novels, whatever.
So I went as far as the 50s, but yeah, never back to the 40s. So that's interesting. Yeah, that's very cool. I don't know if I'll do it live on my show, Alberto. We want real life reactions to the root beer float. Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see. Canada Terrace on Vanilla Bean.
That's a whole new series coming from Ruben soon called the Ruben Mukbang, and nobody wants to see that.
No.
Then we'll all have to do it.
Yeah, that's right. Vanilla. So Alberto says vanilla is the most popular flavor because it's the base used for a lot of things like milkshakes as well. Yeah, but is that really where they're getting the stats from? Because I think the the article that I read, it sounded like they meant, people who go to the supermarket and buy ice cream. I think that's what they were talking about.
I would have thought chocolate.
But maybe, yeah, me too. But maybe they didn't specify that. Maybe they just mean the flavor in any sort of format, and then in which case you may be right, Alberto. So I don't know. Vanilla is used like popcorn, the delivery system to other flavors. Okay, facts. Oh, facts. And look at that. CJ confirming both of you guys with facts. Ruben the soda jerk. Yeah. I wish they still had like those cool 50s era, sort of diners with the soda jerks and stuff. That stuff's cool.
I mean, vanilla does go with everything, right?
What's that?
It goes with everything.
The what? Vanilla ice cream?
Yeah. Does
it really? I don't know. Yeah. Maybe based on sales, but CJ, that's what we're talking about. The article I read was they were talking about sales, Hey, what's up, Jeffrey Moy? Vanilla is a good palate cleanser, says Jeffrey. I mean, it's not like it's terrible. It's not like it's
cream
terrible.
Cream is never a good palate cleanser. Cream coats the tongue, so that is the opposite of true. But it is inert and therefore matches almost any other flavor. So a palate cleanser, you want something like almost citrusy, something like with a very clear flavor. Yeah, icy.
Yeah.
Maybe Mr. Moy, for him, it feels like it cleanses his palate when he eats it. I don't know. But that's cool. If he loves it.
All the other opinions tonight, Ruben, he's wrong. We're right, he's wrong. That's how this show works.
So Alberto, okay, clarifying. So I buy vanilla ice cream at home, but only use it for milkshakes / smoothies and never eat it as ice cream. So I would count it in the stats as buying vanilla. Oh, interesting. I see. Okay, so I see what you're saying. Yeah. You're using it to make other flavors and mixing it with other stuff, but you're using it as a base, basically, right? Interesting. Okay, so that, if that's what a lot of people do, then I would say
smoothies or anything with fruit or so forth, you start with a vanilla base.
And now, because of the shortage of vanilla, because of global change, they're actually using enzymes from a beaver's ass to simulate the flavor of vanilla. Okay. So put that in your pipe and smoke it next time you're making a vanilla shake.
This tastes like beaver's ass,
Well, it's funny because I had an ice yesterday here in Austin, which was spicy pickle ice, and it did taste like ass.
Really?
So there you go. Oh, it's horrible.
Okay.
I mean, let's really make that.
I'll take your word for it. But Sam
tastes like pickle.
Sam is
don't
saying,
answer that.
Sam is saying that the old slang, quote unquote, I'll take vanilla. I got to tell you, I've never heard that. In what context have you ever heard or said that, Sam?
There's like a B movie with that title. I think it was actually a porn film or an adultish film directed by George Romero. Or is it It's Always Vanilla? It might be It's Always Vanilla, yeah.
Oh, and so Ruben was so worried we wouldn't have enough time tonight.
I know, we're only 21 minutes in and we're barely past the pickle. So when's this burger hitting the grill?
In all the restaurants I've run, it's usually a 3-to-1 ratio when buying 3-gallon tubs. Wow. 3-to-1 ratio. That's awesome. Wow. How did an art show ruin my love of ice cream? Jason, you know where to come to have things.
Beaver butt.
you want things to ruin your appetite, you know where to come on Sunday nights, Beaver's ass is also a delivery system for beaver crab. Yes.
But it's like the puffer fish, Marcus. You have to know exactly how to cut it, or the results are not going to be good. No, you have to extract the enzyme from the beaver's anus. It's not from the inside where the poop comes out. It's actually chemicals.
Okay. All of you, the rest of you, you don't blame me this time. I'm not the one talking about shitting and colonoscopying and what. It's these two guys, all right? So, and you guys are to play in the chat as well. So you're all to blame this time. I'm just going along for the ride. Sam says that it happened in 40s movies. I got to tell you, I've seen a fair share of 40s movies, Sam. I can't say. I remember saying, yeah, I'll take the vanilla. And now you're saying if someone gives a complicated explanation, then you say, yeah, well, I'll take vanilla. Wow. I got to tell you, I've not heard it. I must be watching the wrong 40s movies. But I'll take your word for it. I'll take your word for it. Great topic.
Meanwhile, stop talking Foxy. We'll give you what for.
What for? I love that. There's a 40s lingo. I like that.
I just gave you two. Stop talking Foxy and we'll give you what for.
What's up, TJ? All right, let me give you guys real quick. Okay, so you got here we go. One, and let me go grab another link here. So that is the link for Carl's unboxing. For those of you who like to watch unboxing, it's called The Duality of Men at War from earlier this week. And Carl also, Carl also had done a second video. Here we go. And go check that one out. Although I presume that if you see the first one, you'll see the second one. And let me get back here. And then I can grab another one. And this one is for our buddy Lee. I only just noticed that you put another video out, Lee, literally minutes before we went live. So just in time for me to grab the URL for you and be able to give you a promo. So here we go on that one. Here we go. Everybody check out Lee's video. And I grabbed it so quickly, I didn't even see what the video is about. So I'll check that out later tonight after this show. So everybody, please check that one out. And let's see. Sorry, here we go. Third, and I believe that's it. But as always, Nikki B, I know you're not here, but I did not get a direct link to your show. So I will just do what I always do. I'll let everybody know that as a reminder, for those of you who are not aware, you want to check out a comic book art sales claim show / talk show. Check out youtube.com/theexp. It's called the Original Art Experience. That's what the EXP stands for. And that is a show hosted by Nikki B. And bless you, by the way.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
Nick Barucci, he of Dynamite Entertainment. And that is this Friday and every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. So please, if you have some time, do check that out. And let me see, what else do I have? Do I have anything else? I think that's it for the promo.
Fires in California, man, coming straight over the border.
Oh yeah, you're getting the smoke up your nose.
Yeah, we've had it like the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. All right, so that's it for the promos. Thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate that. And let's see what comments I missed, and we'll get into the show and tell. What's this about? Vanilla tasting beaver? Yeah, you don't want to know.
Google it.
Rewind it if you're desperate.
Google it at work.
How about Lee, man? You're quick, Marcus. Wow, you got to give me a chance, dude. You got to give me a chance. Hey, Ian, what is up, sir? Good to see you. And oops, sorry, that's the same thing. Carl is going to be with Billigan also. Why? Okay. Good for Carl, whatever that means. It's about beavers. Somehow I get in and join just in time to see Marcus talking about Beaver's ass. Hi, Kenneth, and a hello to you. Howdy do. Air getting bad again. Matt, close the windows. Yep. Isn't that every week, TJ? Here it is anyways. Nick, a.k.a. the foodie guru. Pretty sure beaver gland. Here we go with the beavers again. Glands are used in perfumes as well. Oh,
especially
good smell. Don't knock it till you've tried it. All right. Well, I will not be knocking the beaver's ass stuff, but everybody feel free if you'd like to. All right, everybody. So, in case you haven't read the description for this episode, and I'm sure most of you haven't, what we're doing tonight, for those of you who are not familiar and may not have seen previous versions of this type of show and tell, where we've done a couple of other ones. This is the third one. We're just going through, we decided to go through the auction, this weekend's auction listings. And what Matt and Heidjer did is they each picked, well, Matt picked 11 pieces and Heidjer picked 10. And I've picked 5 or 6 of just pieces that interested us. So this is not a focus on the values of the arts, although I have them for you because I know that you guys seem to always love and want to know what the thing's sold for. But the focus is still on, the aesthetics. And so that's what we all kind of went with in terms of choosing our selections tonight. And that's it. So I'm going to open up a photo viewer.
It's like 10 lots left.
Sorry, what?
I said it's almost done. There's 10 lots left in the auction, like 10 or 12.
Oh, is that right?
It's still going.
Is there really only 10 lots left?
Let's see. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9. Yeah, 10 lots.
Interesting, because I've got.
Wow,
I was missing one. That's great because now I can add one of the prices. I was only missing one more for one of the selections tonight, and it's like the 4th piece that we're going to show. So that allows me to put it in here. And so let me put that 1, 2, 3. There we go. All right, now I got the prices for all of the items tonight. Okay. So as I was saying, what's that? Eau de toilette. Yeah, it kind of is. Reed, I'm just here for the pictures. Good, Mike. That's as well you should be. Do a viewer's choice for a few. For a few? I don't know. What do you mean? What do you mean by that? Viewer's choice would mean the viewers would throw out the name of a piece they liked, I guess. So I don't know what you mean by that. Explain. Please explain better. And in the meantime, let me set up the photo viewer so we can all share with you. And get this show on the road. Let me see. Oops. So here.
It was tough choosing. There was a lot of good stuff in this auction.
Yeah.
I thought so. Yeah.
Well, I would say I always say the same. I always say there's always a lot of great stuff in the auctions. I don't find that that's ever like changes.
Well, for me with the Roger Hill collection, that's sort of like it's just like, oh yes, I want everything, please.
Yeah, that made it pretty tough. The Hill collection being well represented yet again.
Yeah. Yeah, Marcus. So you're saying you guys pick just so we can talk about them? Okay. We'll see if we have anything to say. We may not have anything to say about them. But yeah. Why don't we, I don't know, why don't we get through a few first? And
all of them. Let's get through all of them first.
Yeah, let's try to get through all of them first. Let's get through ours first, and then we'll see.
You can raise what we missed. You can call attention to the pieces that we didn't talk about.
There you go. Exactly. That's a good one. Okay, and it's me in the middle. There you go. 1 out of 5 in today's auction. What's up, Caesar? Congratulations.
Man,
hey,
all these people got money. I'm so happy for them.
A lot of people ain't getting nothing, so that's pretty awesome. I know it's rare, Corey. I know. But when it comes to talking about 800 pieces of art, believe me, there's plenty of pieces there I have nothing to say about them. So, but yeah, let's get this show on the road, and let's start with this first piece. This is just for everybody to know. We'll start with Matt. This is Matt's first. I put them in order of whatever order I felt like putting them in, but this is the first one is Matt's pick, and here it's the Books of Magic, a trade paperback cover by Charles Vess from 1995, and this one went for $10,200. What do you love about this one? I know you love Charles Vess, and so do I, Matt. But anything else?
I love Death. I think is one of the most underrated Vertigo series. It's just a solid read. If it weren't Vertigo, it would have been the best comic at another publisher. But because it was happening sort of simultaneously with books by Grant Morrison and Neil Gaiman, I feel like John Nerebert sort of never got appreciated quite as well. And any cover art, published cover art with Death on it, very small club. So whoever paid $10,000 for this got kind of a bargain. And honestly, name another cover with Death on it that would go that cheap.
Okay.
You could expect any of the covers to Death High Cost of Living to be in the 75,000 or more category, I would imagine, probably a couple 100,000. Certainly any Sandman covers that would feature Death would be in that crazy price range, and there's only a couple. There's the one that's the first appearance, which is, I could see someone paying $400,000 for that, no problem. So yeah, you don't see a lot of Vess stuff, published Vess stuff go to market, and you never see Death covers go to market. So I thought this was extraordinary.
Cool. You didn't go after it though?
I knew I wasn't in a budget for it.
No. Okay.
Okay. I don't know how I even missed this one. I didn't even see this one up there. That's cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, well, it happens to me all the time, actually. Like it's I go through the stuff. It literally takes me hours, right? And I'm thinking, by the time I get to the end, I'm like, yeah, okay, wow, that took a couple of hours, 2-3 hours, and then we'll do something like this, or somebody will point out, hey, did you see that thing? And then I'm like, what? On what auction was that? And they're like, the one that just finished. I'm like, really? Yeah, somehow, I guess when you have that many, 800, 850, whatever the number is, yeah, it just seems that there's always a way that it's just going to sort of skim by you,
Well, it does make. It's a good point that Matt makes about Death and the Fairy Queen, and it's a Vertigo cover from that time. Whether and I'm not going to tell Heritage their business, whether they're putting too much in these auctions.
Yeah. They frequently do. I think they overload them, and so if you've got 3 real A-line bidders bidding on stuff, and they're bidding up the top price on just a handful of pieces, other people may not have even placed the bid on something that they expected to go high because they thought that these other buyers would get it. Their animation auctions are just replete with way too much stuff, not servicing the pieces, not doing a good job of describing them at auction. But generally speaking, these pieces tend to kind of speak for themselves. Maybe they would have highlighted it if they thought it had higher potential, and maybe they underrated it for the same reasons that everybody else has underrated it, which is that Books of Magic isn't Sandman, it isn't Death. It wasn't a top-selling Vertigo book. It was just a solid, really good book.
What was funny was that I forgot, somebody pointed out that doesn't he look a lot like Harry Potter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the timeline, very close in time as well, except one came out in book and then movie, and then this was going to. I hadn't thought of that before.
Yeah, it's very much a very similar character. Now, I believe Books of Magic predates Harry Potter.
I think so too. Yeah.
All right. Well, Luxon, nice first pick there, Matt. And yeah, always been a Vess fan myself. As I've mentioned in the past, I've never read Sandman or any of the related, type of Vertigo books, but as far as the art goes, I love it just because Vess, from the moment he stepped into the industry, I just thought, man, this guy is awesome. Just amazing. Just a wonderful illustrator. No matter what he does, I've always loved it. I honestly can say I don't remember ever once him doing a project and thinking, yeah, I didn't like that. You know what I mean? It's always really like he always kept a consistent, nice quality to his work.
And for people who pay attention to such things, Charles Vess is probably a very good investment. A lot of his stuff doesn't make it to market, but because a lot doesn't, and you're only bidding against generally a handful of people that own most of it already. And so if they let up pieces, that means that they don't have money. So like the biggest buyers for that type of thing are out of the hobby at that point in time. He's a winner of the World Fantasy Award, I think, multiple times. So it kind of puts him in a kind of scale with like Frazetta. Like I could see Vess's work, especially his comic book work, approaching the value of what Frazetta's comic book work gets. And some of that stuff gets very, very high. And because he's so associated with really just Epic and Vertigo and some other fantasy stuff, it's you're really in a special club if you own his work.
Well, the Moonshadow miniseries, especially the covers.
Well, Moonshadow is Muth, right?
Oh, it's Muth. Sorry, that's right. Yeah, right.
Yeah. I did not used to dress up as a wizard, period, let alone to go see Vess. Just FYI, okay? All right, just let's clear that up.
Protesteth too much.
This guy likes to spread rumors about me all the time. All right, let's move on, guys. Let's go on to Heidjer's first pick, and that one is this one. Oh, did I screw that up? I think I did. Because this is yours, right, Matt?
No, this is mine.
Oh, no, you picked this one? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's not mine.
So a couple of these have come up before. This one, I think, went actually kind of cheap at around $1,500 without the juice. The previous ones were around, I think, $6K. So, first of all, classic John Carter Mars. I know people hate the movie. I actually liked it, but this is...
I liked it.
I thought it was great. I think this is one of my introductions to... I remember buying the stories for, I think, like 50 cents for the book. I mean, it's been around forever. Edgar Rice Burroughs is known for Tarzan, of course, but also this was the second largest creation that he ever made. What I thought is really cool about this is that it's illustrated by his son, and that's just wild. I mean, illustrating his dad's stories and illustrating them well, and it's a cool story to begin with. So it was just there's a lot there to take in, and it's classic from the time. It's not the pulps, but it's a wonderful way to see the story.
I can't help Heidjer. I can't help it. I have to say it. Okay, so this is my favorite panel here because I love this woman right here. Her and him, especially his expression, just fantastic. But I cannot stand this cheesy, ridiculous-looking monster thing here. It looks too cartoony for the rest of the setting. Yeah.
I'll say it's not just, but it's not, the art is not the driver from this. This is the story and the if you will, the provenance. The fact that you have the opportunity for the son to do something with his father's work, I thought was just kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mark says amazing. CJ says nice strip. Alberto says, why do we call it the juice when we refer to the buyer's premium? Where does that come from? I'm sure Matt will tell us a historical anecdote about it. Lush inks. Yes, exactly. That's what I like about it, too. Very illustrative, so I like that style in the strips from this period. They juice the beaver. Oh, boy. Dirtiest thing I ever said on TV. Ward, I think you were a little hard on the beaver last night. Oh my God, okay. I liked that John Carter movie, and I'm a big fan of the book, says Mickey. I wasn't blown away by his art, though. Interesting, okay. Hey, what are you going to do? But it's cool. I'm glad that you picked it. It's a cool selection, But like I said, I hate when that happens. And, I'll say the same thing about Alex Raymond. There's plenty of gorgeous, just absolutely astonishingly well illustrated Alex Raymond Flash Gordon strips, right, where he includes these ridiculous looking dinosaurs. Like they look like so stupid and cartoony. And like it really is a turnoff because everything else in the strip looks just so realistic and phenomenal, you know? Yeah, it's so weird why they would do that, but whatever, it is what it is, you know?
Well, I would guess, just a hazard guess, so this one, at least from the story, Woola was the faithful, like, dog. So it's supposed to be kind of a goof. It is supposed to be more a scary yet goofy character, and I think he took it and ran with it.
Okay. Either way, yeah, nice. I by the way, catch what year was this? 1942. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, middle of World War II on this one. So yeah, very cool. All right, excellent. Let us move to the next piece, everybody. And this, we go back to Matt's second piece. Check it out.
It's a dinosaur by Alex Raymond. Just kidding.
There we go.
You know, when you look at stuff like this, though, too, the first dinosaur remains discovered in the New World were in like 1854. And so the availability for printed reference for artists to work with were scarce and were in books that were very, very expensive for their time. So when you see stuff like that, when you see like early sequential illustrators depicting dinosaurs, they didn't have the breadth of study materials that today's artists have.
Okay, guys, I'm sorry about this, but you started talking about this again, and I wondered why, because I was showing the next piece, and then I came back to this window and realized that the John Carter is still showing for some reason. So let me try that again. Let me click over. Okay, I've just clicked.
I'm not seeing it.
Nope.
And I'm back here. And for some reason, I'm not. That is so weird. Oh, that's not a good thing. Hold on. I'll click it once more just to see if the next one. Tell me, does that change?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Sorry, everybody. Technical problems. Let me try that again. I'll just restart the share.
Ruben was responsible for the echo.
Share. Okay. How's this? There we go.
Yep. Frazetta.
You got your Frazetta. There we go. Frank Frazetta. This is yours, Matt. What do you got to say about this?
That's colored pencils.
Colored pencils.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, that's why I picked this. I'm like, you've never seen. We've seen a lot of Frazetta, and I've just never seen anything quite like this. It's clearly him. You know, it's got that facial thing that he does. That kind of, he puts Pictish features on his women a lot. But I've just never seen him do like this much mixed media where there's a lot of colored, or actually Conti crayon, I think is what it is, not pencils. But, so it's not paint. And you usually think of like illustrators who work with paint or gouache as you know them for that, and you don't really think about them for their other work. And I mean, you can also see where the skin tone is also Conti. So there's not like a hard outline on a lot of this. It's really kind of just basic and put into place. And you're just looking at one of the great masters of illustration doing something quick, probably, that ended up getting used as a book cover, I believe. So, yeah, pretty special. And it's easy to pick a Frazetta, but usually you're going to be picking a painting, and this just really spoke to me. The weird sci-fi aspect of that screen in back of her, which looks like kind of a spiked eyeball coming out of the wall. It's just like really classic of that Atom Age, but of illustrators who are also big into fantasy.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, very nice science fiction stuff here for sure.
I like that you said it was quick.
And I popped it into the chat, but for those of you who listen while you do other things and don't really look, 26,400. So yeah, very nice. Nice pick there, Matt. All right, let's keep it moving. And that one, oh God, please let this be working. Please let me know if this changes now.
Nope. Yep, there it is.
All right.
Yeah, so this is going a little to the underground stuff, and this went a lot further than I thought it would, but it's just such an incredible image. Rick Griffith, and I don't know the story, but just looking at how this is inked, how it's drawn, how it's laid out. I mean, everything about this is just amazing to me.
This Williams in
Gorgeous,
Spain?
for sure, yeah.
So this is just...
Was this Williams inking Spain Rodriguez?
Oh, no, this is Rick Griffith.
Griffith, right.
Griffith, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm always amazed again. It's one of the things to come back to is that I know a lot of folks out there, Marvel fans, and love the Marvel, but it would pop in my mind again. How to draw the Marvel way, and stuff like that. So you see a lot of stuff come out of the 60s and 70s. Even though you love the characters, in the really great artists make their own presence felt. The underground comics just go really in completely different directions. And when you see something like this, like the panel on the top there right now reminds me of, and I'm blanking on the Japanese artist, the Wave.
Okusai.
Yeah, it is so rich, it is so detailed. It's just, how can you not see this as anything but art? Even if there's a story to tell, it's just I'm floored by this. And this I know went north of $25,000 for these 2 pages, and they're well deserved, I think, too.
Published Griffin pages very rarely come up as well. Griffin wasn't as prolific as the other underground artists, and yet immediately recognizable for his fonts because of all his rock posters. Died too young, motorcycle accident. And I see a little bit of the Escher influence in this too, which was something, Escher and Dolly were as strong an influence on the underground comic artists as the earliest superhero illustrators were on that later generation. And so, yeah, you mentioning that, there's that Marvel method thing, but there's also the house look, right? When you look at Avengers, we know because we know who these people are, but there was still a real dedication to making things look very, very similar, not look very, very different. And we all heard, about the spaghetti webbing on McFarlane's work was something that the editors hated. And of course, fans we've never seen anything like this. Give us more of this. Give us more of this new stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I mean, look at that Aloha out of rope or something. I mean, it's just his lettering is incredible. And there's so many different kinds on this.
And what caught my eye, and this is just, it's a funny little detail, but it's all, even though it's all very linear boxes, and then lots of line and curves and so forth, very luscious. And then there's one little box where it's a nut or something cracking the linear line on the second page. It just catches your eye. It's just a tiny little detail,
Yeah.
but I mean, that's what makes it so fun to look at.
Yeah, between the third and fourth panel from the left on the second page on the second row.
Yeah, it's great. Carl, this one was for you. So I know he told me privately, actually, for everybody who obviously you guys don't know. Just some personal stuff happening in Carl's life, and he told me that he won't be able to drop by regularly for a while. So that's why he's not here. But glad to show this for you, Carl. Hopefully you have some time to catch this and see this one on the rewind. This one's for you, bud. I hope you're good. And okay, yeah, exactly. You got it, Rickster. Braided bamboo. Actually underneath. Sorry, Heidjer.
So 1979 top 10, the Pina Colada song.
Was it what did it not go to number one?
No, it did not go to number one. It might have gone to number one, but it was top 10 for in the billboards for that year.
Okay. Cool. All right. Well, let's get going and get out of Hawaii, as sad as that may be, and check out Matt's next piece. And that's this one. This may look familiar for those of you who saw the last show we did of this. Check it out. And oh no, is it not showing again?
Nope, not yet.
Man, this really, I don't know why it's getting like, how would that happen? I'm not techie enough to know these things. So, okay. It's here. I'm just gonna stop and start, and I guess it's the only thing I can keep doing because it's otherwise there's no show.
Man, now I got that Pina Colada song stuck in my head.
Rupert Holmes, who had actually already won a Best New Artist Grammy a couple years before the Pina Colada song.
Here we go. All right, so Tomb of Terror cover. Very, very similar to the Black Cat cover from the last one. Yeah.
Yeah, very, very similar. Of course, they're both Lee Elias, right? So, I mean, all this stuff we're talking about from the Hill collection is just like such an embarrassment of riches. And the guy just had such an incredible eye for... no
pun intended.
Yeah,
especially this drawing.
Hold on. Marcus says no radiation though. But radiation on the cover costs you an extra $500,000. That's the difference.
Basically, right? And so and I think I figured out that there was an 8 months difference between these two covers.
Oh, okay.
And they're two different publishers. Same artist recycling an idea. Maybe it got turned down at one and he brought it to someone else, and then later on that initial publisher says we'll take it again. So they are two different pieces. This is a great runner-up piece for the Black Cat cover. And this was a really, really hard show to pick for because it's just so much good stuff. Look at that black. Look at the having that white outline, which he's using hash marks to illuminate. It's really, really cool stuff. And that's on the art, man. I mean, like, that's back before they would even Xerox, the cover title treatment and just toss it on there. They were redrawing all that lettering. Yeah.
It's very, very cool. Very cool, but again, very derivative. So it's like I when I saw it finish, I find it still incredibly expensive. It's a lot of money, for this to go $300,000, obviously. But I'm glad that it didn't go, to the same kind of level the other one did, just because
it's clearly not as refined. But what's kind of neat about it is that it almost looks like a prelim. Like there's just a real
because it's a bit rougher
to this. Yeah, it's just super loose, and that makes it in a way kind of more disturbing.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool either way, right? But but man, $300K. Wow. I mean, still
1/3 of the other one.
Money. What's that?
1/3 of the other one.
Yeah, exactly. But like I said, deservedly so in the sense that, the other one is the main one. It is the one that's most well loved and more popular or whatever. And like I said, this is more derivative, if you will, So,
well, we have seen cases where an amazing cover, be it a McFarlane or a John Byrne cover, hits a huge price, and then the next cover hits an even higher price, even though it's not as good. So, it could have gone either way.
Yeah, that's very true. Very, very true. You just never know with these things, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, okay, excellent. All right, let's hope that I can switch to the next image and check it out. Yes, sir, it worked. All right, what do we got here, Matt? What do we got here? You're pissing off Tom now because no Marvel art's being shown.
I think that was because of my comment about the Marvel method.
Yeah.
And here, let me blow.
Well, this one's not mine. This one's Heidjer's,
This one's
right?
mine. So John Bolton.
Oh, Heidjer, sorry.
Yeah. So there were 3 paintings by John Bolton in this that dealt with the Flash Gordon movie from the 80s. I actually did one of them. And I love this stuff, and Dino De Laurentiis, he was a fan. I mean, you look at Flash Gordon, Conan, Dune, and so forth. He loved this stuff. And this is, there was a hefty dose of nostalgia in this for me, but I think it's also really, even though people would argue it, very loyal to the original comic strip. The Art Deco sets, the feel of it. I thought it was a fun movie, great cast, great dialogue, awesome soundtrack by Queen. And so, the fact that he commissioned Bolton to do three paintings for the distributors for scenes that were missing, hadn't been filmed yet at that point, I just think are really, really cool. So I went, I saw these. I was like, I didn't know this stuff even existed. So it's at the key point of the movie when the tide starts to turn. And War Rocket Ajax has been sent out there to bring back Gordon's body and the Hawkman attack. So it's just love it. Bolton, of course, is amazing. There was a really a great cover from Black Dragon, which also sold in this auction for $30,000 plus. I mean, he's a master by any stretch, and in both pencil and in color. So this was I think had a lot of things going from it, and it crossed a lot of genres between I would say the movie collectors, the art, comic art collectors, and just nostalgia collectors. Period.
Yeah, I remember not really thinking much of that movie when I was a kid. I wasn't excited to go see it, and I think I didn't end up seeing it until it hit like HBO. Which happened pretty quickly because the film wasn't a particularly successful film in theaters. When it hit cable, it became very successful. And so until Arrow did that 4K remaster, I hadn't sat down and watched it, and I loved it. I was like, this is such a fun movie. Like, sure, the lead actor is atrocious, but I mean, like, that there's something kind of wonderful about him really seeming lost in this adventure that is somehow relatable. And like you say, the Art Deco set design and everything else. I mean, no expense was spared in putting that together. You could tell like that it not being a huge movie in the United States to the extent I think that they were hoping it would be must have really hurt him, like because he had thought he had done all the right things, but yeah, going back and watching it after not having seen it in 40 years was an absolute treat.
And it's funny. Lucas tried to option this and couldn't, and made Star Wars instead. Yeah. And there's it's a very different movie. You can't compare it. At the same time it came out, along with that and Star Trek the movie. We won't talk about that one. But it's a fun movie, and like I said, a great cast, and it still has Max von Sydow is Ming as far as I'm concerned. He just nailed it. And so one of my favorite lines with is sort of like when you just talk about the Earthlings that'll be left. He says, "Let's just say they'll be satisfied with less." It just delivered it perfectly.
Yeah.
Just want to say thank you to those of you joining in late. Appreciate having you guys here. Hope you stick around a bit and enter some comments in the chat. Ask some questions. Make some comments about the art we're showing. Whatever. Give your opinions. All right. Let's see if I can go to the next piece in tonight's show and tell smoothly this time. And so we can go back to Matt's next pick.
Bam.
And yes, we do. We got it. Here we go. The Unknown Soldier by Joe Kubert. Off with her head.
This is just incredible. I loved The Unknown Soldier. Was my favorite sort of war character from any of the DC books, but certainly any of the books. I love the Unknown Soldier character. I love the reboot that Garth Ennis put together. I love the full-length series that came after it. And I just love this piece because you don't see Joe Kubert put women on the covers of comics that much.
Yeah, true.
And this is, a combination bondage, execution cover. You've got die in huge letters. You've got like this kind of quasi, you could call it, well, I'm not going to read too much into it, but I mean, There's clearly an Asian foe, and it's just a really well articulated idea. And that stuff in the foreground, like these reflections on the ground, I have no idea what they connect to. Yeah. And but it somehow adds to an element of weird unknown detail to it. Like, what is that? It really makes you want to open that cover and find out what's going on. Even if you knew nothing about the character whose name adorns the title, it's just a very, very striking cover.
Yeah, it's really, really cool.
Well, there were two other Kubert covers also from the war genre. They all did very well. And all really very, very cool covers. I'm thinking you cannot touch a Kubert DC cover under 10,000 now.
I think one of those other covers also had a female character on it. It was so weird that they both wound up in the same auction, and I guess they must have come from the same collection, and maybe that was that collector's eye.
Yeah.
Yeah. FYI, speaking of the value, that's not actually true, Heidjer. I've seen plenty that they still go in the sort of higher 4 digits. But the better ones, right? The ones that people want more, that stand out above the rest, the other choices that may be in the same auction. Yeah, those tend to now always consistently hit 10 and above, And this one in particular, for those interested, went for 10,800 exactly. So, yeah. So very nice. Yeah, very nice pick. And I'm always happy to for anybody to pick and show Joe Kubert art of any kind. So, yeah, this was a good pick. I'm glad.
And with that
glad you grabbed this one.
Price at DC at the time too, I can't imagine what the circulation on the Unknown Soldier was. Like, it could not have been a tremendously successful book in that era.
No, exactly.
And so for Joe to still be just killing it with the pencils is, you got to appreciate that, because a lot of people, their interest will wane. Like even Gene Colan, like if he wasn't into the title, if it wasn't selling well, he would kind of phone it in a little bit sometimes.
No, very true. Yeah, very true. Okay, excellent. Let us go on to Heidjer's next pick. And for that, we have this one. In case anybody doesn't know what they're looking at here, this is Arkham Asylum, page 102 by Dave McKean from 1987, sold for $6,300.
So there were two McKean pieces. I actually went for the other, which was the cover. But I put this one in here because, as opposed to the cover, the McKean covers are striking. But at the end of the day, they're covers. And again, when I started getting back into comics, like a lot of us, I took a little of a powder from it and got back into it in the 90s. And I was reintroduced into Sandman, which again McKean had the covers. But again, it's still thinking, comic books. Drawing and following a regular drawn sequential story. And then you've got something like this by Grant Morrison and McKean. It comes out and it completely, to me, shattered my way of thinking what a comic book could look like. And I'm probably not well versed in it, but I think he was very much a trendsetter that influenced a lot of other ones like Miran Kim, who did the X-Files covers and so forth, and showed really that you didn't have to do it just with pencil and paint and so forth. You could use a lot of different items, whether it's cover or so forth, to tell the story. And I was just, these are not like the Stray Toaster pages by Sienkiewicz. These are not big pages. These are regular, I would say, 11 by 17 pages, maybe even a little smaller. And to have this much color and detail stuffed in them, it's just amazing. I've always loved it. I think this went a little light for the page, but I mean, it is a bit of an acquired taste.
I had a couple of his interior pages from Hellblazer back in the day, and then they sort of were always much more expensive than other people's interiors, but then other people's work sort of eclipsed it over time.
Yeah.
But I mean, here he's dedicated some serious detail into recreating those Crowley, Book of Thoth tarot cards. I mean, like these are like as close to a study of someone else's work as you can get from Dave McKean.
And I mean, I have one cover by McKean, and this is stuff I just love to stare at it because there's so much detail that you see in the texture, and you can kind of get lost in it. And so I love the sequential storytelling using this kind of method. It's very cool.
Lady Frida Harris was the artist who illustrated Crowley's deck, so that's who he's paying tribute to here.
It's very cool.
I feel like I'm losing you. Anybody having trouble with the audio? I suddenly didn't hear you guys there at towards the end.
I think we just stopped talking.
Yeah.
You got Matt and Heidjer. You guys okay with your audio?
Yeah.
You guys okay with the audio?
Yep.
Okay, sounds good. All right. Yeah, let me get that back down here. And so that's Two-Face right in the upper left, isn't it?
Yeah.
And this is the best-selling Batman book of all time, right?
Is it really?
Yeah, because this hit the comic shops right when the Batman movie opened in 1989 or 1990, whatever.
No, this was 1987. This was 87. This came out a couple of years before the movie.
I think it got resolicited like as a Warner Books book, like when they first started like doing that exchange where it wasn't just DC and they started getting into bookstores. Like this hit right then and was the Batman graphic novel. I don't think they had done like an absolute edition of Dark Knight at that point yet.
Okay. Either way, I think it's been in print nonstop since it came out, right?
Yeah. I remember at some point Grant Morrison saying that it was the highest circulated DC publication ever.
Okay. Okay, good. No, that's a great book for sure. So
confusing, but beautiful.
Steve says 89 to 90, not 87. Yeah, you might be right. I know it was late. I always refer to it as late 80s. I remember that it was late 80s. So late 80s, yeah. But yeah, for sure. Like I said, it's been in print ever since, and one of the greatest sort of single story, Batman projects ever. In my opinion, particularly because of the art, much more so than the story. Not to say anything, negative about the story, but I'm just saying that's what stood out to me. I mean, it was just so mind blowing at the time, visually. What a stunning, thing to lay your eyes upon at that time. I mean, nothing was really being done like this in comics, and the only thing that kind of came close to it was the stuff that Sienkiewicz had been doing with Elektra Assassin and Blood, perhaps those very but as we know, in the mainstream American comic book market, they just they didn't really do much painted type stuff, right? They didn't do much experimental type stuff. So, and
Elektra's never had the circulation of Batman. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I don't know how much it has. I would assume that that book has had quite a bit though. For a
non-hero book, for non-Spider-Man, for I mean, I love it. It's great. I think that there are zeros in difference of circulation.
Yeah.
Decimal points, multiple probably.
Yeah. All right. Let's go on to the next one, guys. And the next one is this really killer, kick-ass, non-Marvel and DC piece.
Yes.
But what a piece of art, man. That's awesome.
Is this like the we hate the big two episode, I guess? But again, like Basil Wolverton, this is just the craziest looking thing. Wolverton's artwork was a huge influence on, the mad artists that followed. Wolverton started before EC, would occasionally do some work in EC Comics, but was really working in other horror books and other science fiction books. Really that pointillist kind of style, which he stretches out into longer lines, is something that just, Rick Geary obviously took, and ran with it later on in life. But it's just, there's something really disturbing about this. There's something very Charles Burns about it. But of course, this is probably 40 years before, Black Rain. I love Wolverton's work. I've had the good fortune to have owned and sold a few pieces. And this is just really disturbing.
And it's insane, the level of detail. I mean, how can you not go crazy doing that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really phenomenal. And what I found was interesting is that his multiple variations of cross-hatching.
Of cross-hatch, point, line, yeah. It's all in the same piece.
Yeah, and all in order to create different textures, different, right? Like line thicknesses, and yeah, man, it's really phenomenal. Let me try to zero in on another part of it here. Like, look at this guy's suit right here, right? A little simple pattern. That's not cross-hatching, but it's just a different way of doing a pattern. And then her hair, right, with all the thicker lines. On her face, you got different types of ways just on her face alone.
And it does read as pores, right? Like, I mean, it really reads as like pores. His work is striking. Yeah. It was always striking. His work was considered disturbing in its time. It's still disturbing now. What did this accompany? I can't remember what this accompanied.
What do you mean?
Where was it published?
Oh, let me see what I wrote for it. I think
I remember that.
It was for a magazine called The Plain Truth, and it was for an article called The Book of Revelations, 1954.
Even better. I mean, this has all the elements. I mean, the second great awakening and everything else that comes with it. Just wonderful stuff. And I mean, the black is black.
Thank you, Nick. I appreciate it. Yeah, everybody, sorry I haven't asked yet. If you can, please do what Nick says. Please hit the thumbs up right down below here on the right, below the right end of the screen you're looking at. I would really appreciate it. There's 42 people or 44 people currently watching. I think we haven't even hit 30 likes. So please hit that like, which is the thumbs up button. I really appreciate it. Thank you. It's just astonishing. What a great. They're like watching a horror movie, or maybe as Marcus says or claims,
the Revelations. It's, the sky's cracking open, and there's
apparently they're watching Blade Runner with snakes.
What's the size of this piece?
I didn't write that down, so I don't know.
Okay, I'll go back and look. Just curious.
Did you get that, Matt, by any chance?
I didn't. I should open it up.
I don't have that information. Sorry, but
this is one of the ones that I was following as well. But I think it went north of where I was willing to pay for it very quickly.
Yeah.
So Tom, as you know, I usually let my guests pick what they want to pick, what they want to talk about. And then my picks come in, and I'm the one who makes up for, them picking what they want. And I tend to pick stuff that I know I will like, and that, as many of you will like as well. Tonight's format's a little bit different in that I didn't pick an equivalent amount of pieces as these two guys. So unfortunately, tonight's episode, you'll suffer
the consequences.
What's that, Heidjer?
I said you brought in two weirdos and you'll suffer the consequences.
There, you got to suffer the consequences. Yeah. Yeah, no, but I'm good. I mean, I like all kinds of art, so I'm good looking at everything, So, yeah, no, I'm good.
So this image area is 21 by 14.
21 by 14. Okay.
It's pretty big.
Yes, sir. Rickster. And hello.
A window card.
I know you know, Tom. But very excellent. Okay, excellent. You done saying everything you need to say about this? Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Cool. Very cool. let us go on then. The next piece, which is again Joe Kubert. Check it out, Brave and the Bold, from an early issue, number 21, page 3, from 1958.
So there were
7,200.
There were two Viking Prince pages, and I went back and forth which I wanted to show on this one because I loved both of these. They're just both beautiful, beautiful pages. I mean, so fluid. Again, the level of detail, the line work on it. The other page that we don't have here just has, the first one is the woman's face, the mermaid's face, and it's absolutely stunningly gorgeous. Just amazing pages. You know, I've wanted a Viking Prince page for a while. I didn't go. I should have gone in for these, but I'd already bought all their stuff. So I think they went for one went for $3, the other one for $6K. Whoever got them, I think bargains because they're beautiful pages.
There we go. Some more here. Viking Prince with a mermaid. What's not to love? Joe Kubert, Viking Prince, mermaid. Yeah, very, very nice. Very nice. I love all this line on the mermaid here. All this line art, you know, in that middle panel. Yeah, very, very nice. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, we got, I think, 3 Joe Kubert pieces tonight. So good to see the love for Joe Kubert always. So yeah, very happy to see that. And it's funny, when I first laid eyes on it, I was like, oh, what's this? Because my eye went to the first panel and I was like, oh, science fiction. Joe Kubert doing science fiction. He's doing what's his face? What's the I'm blanking on the character's name. Somebody remind me.
Like
Adam Strange. Yeah, exactly. On the first panel, I thought, here, let me just blow that up a bit, because I guess I saw the helmet, right? And I just saw that. And I was like, oh, Adam Strange. Yeah, cool. You know. And I'm like, wait a second. No, he never did that. He never did Adam Strange. Yeah, but very nice. Very, very nice. And amazing about Joe that the vast majority of work he did throughout his very prolific career, he penciled and inked himself most of the time, you know, which is something that I also thought was really, really awesome. Yes, thank you, Rick. And thank you, Marcus, as well. Should have been seeing the lady first. Yeah, I'm not into the fish women, I guess, Marcus. Maybe more attracted to space helmet wearing, outer space faring type guys. You know, I don't know what it is. Cab is still with us. It will not go away completely, and it might not be a bad thing, but the beauty accompanying the relationship more than makes up for it. I don't know what you're talking about. Any art to do with water well done is always impressive and not easy to do. That's very true. Excellent. All right. Another great Kubert. Okay. Going back to Matt now. We hit this one. More, or should I say less Marvel and less DC, but we have something that rhymes with DC. It's EC. How about this?
Yeah, I mean, these in-house ads are some of my favorite EC artworks. Jack Davis did a lot of them, but this is a full pager, not a half page. It's got a lot of characters on it. You got Frankenstein's monster poking through the hole there. You got a trellis. Yeah. You know, you've got, looks like the Crypt Keeper. You've got like all these ancillary pieces from the comics, or actually the Vault Keeper, and just really, really cool. And yet it's still so EC. It's still so Mad Magazine-ish at the same time. You know, and because it was for the EC Fanatic Club, not specifically for the horror books, it has a little bit of the cartoony nature to it as well. I'm amazed this stuff survived. I'm just so pleased that it did.
Yeah.
They had one other ad, I think, in this. It was in the same section, which was from Right Outside, which was like, "Are you a red dupe?" kind of.
Yeah.
I love that. These are a lot of fun.
Yeah. The red dupe ads are great too, but they're kind of like, you know, the height of paranoia that William Gaines was experiencing from being on, you know, speed, the diet pills that he was taking, and he was just completely out of his mind. He came up with that Red Dupe campaign, like to try and fight censorship. And if you supported censorship, you were a red dupe. And it's kind of a nice little piece of history. I thought you were going to pick it, so that's why I didn't.
There was so much good stuff, and this one, what I love is actually the door he's coming through that looks like a mouth.
Yeah, the trellis with the teeth coming down. Yeah.
Yeah, very, very nice. I love all that cross hatching up around Frankenstein coming through that hole.
Yeah.
I love that stuff. Yeah,
and you remember that beautiful giant inflatable Frankenstein you could buy in the ads in the 70s was a Jack Davis drawing of Frankenstein. So it's kind of neat to have a Davis Frankenstein in this as well.
Yeah. Very neat. Very neat. Okay. Excellent. Nice pick again, Matt. Let us move on, folks. Go to the next one. And for that, we hit another non-Marvel, not DC. What a shock!
Matt Fox. Wow.
But another incredible illustration, though. Let's be honest. And let me just read this to everybody. This is called Methinks. Well, it's because you can see it there. Methinks thou protesteth too much illustration.
Which I said earlier on this very show.
Matt Fox, 1976, $9,600.
I just saw this. Again, know very little about it, but just that image, the detail, again, is just mind-boggling how much time and effort they put into it. And again, this is, and I'm not trying to bash the Marvel stuff or the DC stuff or so forth, but this is a labor of love. There is no other way you can go do this. This is somebody who's doing something that they love, otherwise they wouldn't go to do. They're not trying to make a deadline with us. They're making a statement, and it's just wild.
I could see this being a big influence on Mark Rude in that era too. You look at some of his punk art flyers and that kind of pointillism thing that Mark took to a whole new level.
I'm not familiar with him, so I can't concur, but I'll take your word for it for sure.
Yeah, Mark did a lot of punk stuff in the late 70s, early 80s in LA.
Okay. Yeah, I like a lot of the stuff that Scott sells, so it's not really a surprise. And Scott either has definitely likes the independent stuff as well. But from an artistic perspective, I just think this is amazing.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. And excellent. So let us move on to the next piece, and we go back to Matt. And for that, we've got this one.
Turtle splash.
We're starting to get a little more mainstream.
I mean, I love how underground this looks. I mean, like, quite honestly, that, when you go back and look at those early, Howard Tiemann was also another really popular pointillism guy in LA. Did a lot of flyers, did a lot of like weird posters too that you could buy at the gift shops on Hollywood Boulevard. But this Kevin Eastman piece, all the turtles in inlay, the turtles in Splinter, like in a beautiful splash. I mean, there's not a whole bunch of these in those early books that has the full team in Splinter on one page. It still has that early Turtles look, that early Mirage Studio look. I just dig this. I mean, this brings me back to seeing that stuff when I was, 13, 14 years old. And thinking like, whoa, like if I made comics, this is the type of comic I would make, type of thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the early days, right? I mean, those of us who were around and deciding to buy and read this stuff, it's just great memories for sure. TMNT, this is, by the way, for everybody who doesn't know, this is from issue number 7. So it's a very early issue. It's page 13 from 1986. So imagine for those of us who remember how slow they were in getting the issues done, right? I remember how long it would take to get these issues out. But I also clearly remember that it started in 84, right? So imagine 7 issues in, and we're already in 86. That's how long it was taking them, Yeah, this one, FYI, for those of you who care, this one sold for a whopping $49,200.
Wow.
That'd be close to a record for Turtles art.
Yeah, I would think from what I can remember, I think this might be for an interior story page. I do think that it is. I won't, I won't bet on that, but because I obviously haven't checked, but it seems like it is. Okay, your data plan's running out. No worries, Cab. Take care. Thanks for dropping in as always. And look at that, another guy who didn't notice this. How do you not notice this? Wow. See, that's the thing. Even when you think you should catch this, you might not, right? Like when there's so much stuff, sometimes it's tough, right? Because you're also scrolling, and you're most people, we scroll and we're scrolling through the thumbnails, right? So when you're kind of scrolling at a certain speed, you can miss something interesting through it by a thumbnail, right? That's probably why those of us who miss things, that's why we probably miss them, Munden's Bar color insert story. Wasn't that issue 8? Maybe you're right, I guess. Issue 8 was the Cerebus issue, I think, right? I don't know. I don't remember. But great turtle piece nonetheless, for sure. Yeah, exactly. 49K. Yeah, exactly. And hey, what's up, Ian? And they're very popular, so not shocked. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, the last bunch of panel pages I saw sold were selling for between $4,000 and $5,000 a piece. So, but this is quite a jump from that, right? I mean, in even taking into account the fact that it's a splash.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. So very, very
Good.
nice though. Yeah,
Makes me happy.
Fun nostalgic pick, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
All right. From there, we go back to Heidjer. What has Heidjer picked? Will it be Marvel? Will it be DC? I don't know. Let us find out.
Zap Zero Prelim. That wasn't too far off.
Well, yeah, not either, but it's Wrightson. And what was interesting is that what did this one end at, Ruben? Do you know?
Oh, this one sold for $18,000. It's from Creepy 35. Everybody.
So last week on the Heritage Weekly, there was a abandoned. It wasn't even a prelim. Abandoned House of Mystery cover with one figure that went for $22,000, and it's cool. Don't get me wrong, but this is just, I mean, so far above what that was, and I love the labels on it's so Wrightson. It's just beautiful in a really warped sense, but it's beautiful. So I mean, the detail, the lines, the names, everything is just creepy. So
Dare I say?
I'm
warning you.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, all these bodies in jars are like so awesome, right?
Yeah, and there's a lot of macabre choices tonight. Well, I mean, I think again, one that's my collecting interest, but also the Roger Hill collection. It just stuff that it was heavily tilted towards horror in this auction as well. That and Kirby. Yeah,
I don't remember. Was there a ton of Kirby as well?
There was a ton of Kirby in this auction, yeah. I think this auction one, if you wanted to buy a reasonably priced, quote unquote, Kirby as your first one, this was the auction to do it in.
Okay. Well, I gotta say, and I echo what Dan is saying, that this one fell through the cracks. I mean, $18,000 for a fully finished, published, creepy, wow, like with horror, the whole horror theme, and like
has the Frankenstein look to it. I mean, this is definitely in that same era.
Yeah, absolutely. That seems for him. That seems really, really cheap. 18 grand. Wow.
For this is sort of I miss having the lettered, the hand lettered word bubbles on here, because the one thing that always bugs me is I wish I knew what the character was saying on this page.
Yeah. Oh,
I know. I missed that.
I'm sure it was a Bruce Jones story, and Bruce Jones didn't get the lettering to the magazine on time, and they had to mock it up for the final print publication at the office, which was pretty common apparently back in those days.
Yeah, it reminds me of a lot of the work done in Europe. A lot of the European comics will put in the hand drawn balloons, but and most often they leave it empty because they know they're gonna be putting it out, published in different languages, different countries, whatever. But from our perspective as art collectors, it like if you're gonna put the balloon hand drawn, if it's permanently gonna be there, God damn it, please put the letters as well. Let us at least find out what's being said. Yeah. So totally agree. It's so frustrating to see an empty giant balloon. Like, you might as well fill it in with ink, right, and not have the balloon there at all. So,
but it's such a stupid thing to complain about for me, but it just stands out more because you have such detail on the left of the page, and all the line work and everything, and you're instead of looking at the beautiful line work on the left, you're drawn to the big empty space up there. It just kind of bugs me.
Yeah,
there's a 70% chance that it was Good Lord Choke.
Yeah.
Gadzooks.
Damnation, I ran out of air.
Oh, it's funny. All right, let's keep it moving, everybody, and move on from Bernie over to more horror. Wow, what a shock, what a surprise. My. Beware Tales of Horror, Chilling Tales, number 16 cover. Shockingly, by an unknown artist. We don't feature unknown artist type pieces very often, from 1953. And when you think about the fact that it's a cover by an unknown artist, $72,000, that's a hell of a lot of money.
I mean, there's a good chance that it was Lee Elias, really, quite honestly.
Yeah.
And there's any number of people that we know their names who are doing that work, who might have started on it and had an assistant finish inking it. It's just striking. The shape of it is everything is in a V. The whole eye line and perspective. The kind of odd trick they're doing with the bricks, which don't come off well. That kind of well-shaped masonry. It's not really perfectly articulated, but it serves the piece really well.
Yeah. Let's get a closer
The
look.
face is like straight up ghastly Graham Ingalls, and maybe it is Ingalls working for somebody other than EC, afraid he was going to get into trouble for breaking contract.
I doubt it. I don't get the Ingalls feel to this. There's a lot.
There's a little too heavy-handedness in the brushwork.
Yeah,
but look at that face.
She's very pretty as well in terms of the facial features. They're very well done.
Yeah.
Although you can tell it's not a George Evans girl. You know what I mean?
What are you saying about George Evans?
He did a very pretty face.
And then you have the hands going, Mr. Carter, Mr. Carter.
Mr. Carter. Mark, 72,000, not 2,000.
Yeah.
There we go. I wonder who the inspiration was for the ghouls. What are you trying to say, Dan? I think you're trying to say something there. I don't know.
Ghouls are fantastic.
But I love it.
And that's what I love about that kind of like Fawcett and like weird publishers books is they're so macabre because they're so ghoulish. Like there really is just an element of ghoulishness to this stuff that even EC didn't have. Like EC had gore and they had like a really interesting house look, and then they had the sci-fi guys and the girls with the headlights and all that stuff. But this stuff really just like stands above and beyond, and it's just a shame that the interiors on these books were really subpar. Like once you got past the cover on a lot of this stuff, the quality went way down. Whereas at EC they did have, a house full of super mega talents. But I mean this is just fabulous. The skulls are just kind of like an extra treat, and the skeleton hands. It's just that V shape of bringing everything down, and the way he's draped it using a well motif on the masonry instead of it just being a straight up wall.
Yeah, there looks like lettering in the shadowing you were focusing on. Looks like lettering.
It looks like lettering, but I don't think it is. Yeah, it's like, and I don't think it's supposed to be subliminal. I think it's just the way that it was done, and maybe even possibly stuff that came off over time from the page.
Where are you talking about, Ian? Exactly.
Right in there, like that shadow work, like right there between their hands and everything. It looks like lettering, but it's not lettering.
I don't see anything that looks like lettering. Sorry, I don't know what you're looking at. And then believe me, I looked at this piece carefully to see if I could find some hidden initials.
Maybe not Roman lettering. We could say Sanskrit. We could say that it looks like some form of cursive.
Okay, well, it's unknown after all these decades, and it's going to remain unknown, guys. Near the hand, he says.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we'll move on.
Yeah. Yeah. What can you say? It'll be unknown and a surprise, probably forever and ever for future generations as well. What are you going to do? That's life. But great pick. Nice horror pick. Love it. Thank you so much. And Marcus, what are you saying? Ruben is part of the cult and trying to hide it from us. Yeah, that's right. It's all me. It's all my doing.
You should hear him sing Love Removal Machine.
You don't want to hear me sing, believe me. All right, let's move on to the next piece. And hold on a second, everybody. Give me a break. So I don't know what the heck is going on, but yesterday all day long, I had this other thing happening where I'm just using the computer, and every so often, my mouse, the mouse no longer controls the pointer. And it goes from anywhere from like 15 to 30 seconds before I can get control of my pointer back. It's like it keeps freezing. It's weird. But anyways, I don't know if I tried to see if it's a dead battery. It doesn't seem to be. Anyways, whatever. Those are my problems. Let's hope it doesn't affect me tonight. In the meantime, let's go on to the next piece, everybody. And here we go. Now we're starting with some DC, a little bit more contemporary. Check it out. Let's look at
And within the same week that the world's oldest Siamese twins died. So this is a very timely selection.
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
Yep. The longest living Siamese twins just passed away last week.
Oh, and how old were they? Do you remember?
I think they're in their 60s.
Oh, wow.
So
what country?
Americans.
What? Americans. Wow. All right. Talk about this a little, man.
So this is when I was watching. I love Lee Bermejo's art. You know, it's beautiful. I've wanted a piece, and I was thinking about this cover, and then at the last minute, this is one of those ones where I'm like, am I ever going to hang up something like this? And I'm going to go, God, no, this is just so disturbing. That being said, it's one of those things where you look at the wrinkles in the clothes, just the details and stuff like that. It's just so well done, and the use of the different shades. It looks like a photo of a family you never want to meet, But it's I've not read Hellblazer. Wasn't reading Hellblazer when this came out, but I think it's a very it is. I won't say a stunning cover, but you're not going to forget it anytime soon.
I think just when Milligan went back to the title, right?
Might be, yeah. This is probably what, late 90s.
Ooh, maybe 2000s. Because Bermejo was a rare to see his work prior to that Joker book.
Yeah. And it's nice to see. I hadn't seen any of his work on other than like the more mainstream DC pieces. So it was nice to see something different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the Siamese twin, that's just very disturbing.
All right. Yeah, and disturbing. So disturbing. No, I like it. Tomax and Zammot. But they're twins, but just not Siamese, All right. let us go to your next pick again here, Matt. And for that, we have Marvel. Wow. Whoa, Tom. Let's not give Tom a heart attack. Let's give him some time to take it in and breathe. I don't want to kill you. I don't want to be responsible for your death, Tom. But here you go, my friend. Holy crap. Why would you pick such a odd choice, Matt? Something that nobody really collects in this hobby. Nobody cares about.
Yeah, I've mentioned it before. Mint condition art pages from George Perez from this era are really rare. I'm sure this has a cut that they're not showing us with their scan, some jaggedy ass cut across the top of it. But looking at this is as undamaged a cover from George Perez as I've ever seen.
I knew you were going to say that, so I prepared for this, and I just wanted to make sure that I told you, Matt, that I don't know why, it's really weird, but for whatever reason, the covers, they always seem to just peel them off. They didn't use the blades to slice them off. So this is actually normal for covers. It's the interiors.
Although I've seen a lot of these butchered-ass Avengers covers, at the our two favorite brothers had a lot of it at their tables over the years, and they were janky. And this one looks pretty great. I mean, and by Perez standards, it's pretty simple, except for the background. Like, the characters don't have a lot of detail. The room is filled with detail. I love the First Blood, thing on the cover. Just like an odd pick for me for sure, but whenever I see a good condition page, with Perez's artwork on it, just makes me happy. And it reminds me, I know it's not part of that same run, but it reminds me of the Michael stories, and I always really loved the Michael stories. That was the only stuff from the Avengers I could ever get into.
Is that Wonder Man?
It is Wonder Man. Okay,
just a little side note on this one. Why is there never ever any Wonder Man art? You never see Wonder Man art. Is there like a Wonder Man hoarder out there somewhere?
I think so. A couple.
And by the way, especially because Dan mentions that he thinks this went a little soft. For those of you, with the budget for such things, this little baby would have only have set you back $168. Oh no, I'm sorry, $168,000.
That's soft.
Yeah,
that sounds about right.
Soft. That's soft, according to Dan.
I thought you were gonna say like $30,000 or something. Like that would have been soft.
It's a very hard soft.
Yeah, six figure. It's
who's the inker on this?
The inker on this one wasn't this what's his name? Austin? I think it was Austin. Yeah, Austin. Yeah.
I liked Austin better on Burns than I liked him on Perez.
Oh yeah. But again, George wasn't at his peak yet, and he was far from at his peak yet at this time. So it's the penciling that's not as strong here. Mind you, Austin, not the greatest inks. When I see like stuff like how he defined the hands here and different other areas, it's not exactly the nicest finishes either. So, both very early in their careers, so you're not going to get their best stuff, but it's still really, really cool. So,
yep,
yeah. And as for Wonder Man, I don't know. I mean, it's not like he was always a regular member of a team either, so that's why you wouldn't, necessarily sort of see him. Plus he didn't really have his own series throughout the 70s, 80s. He may have had a mini series here in the 80s, and then maybe he didn't get an ongoing, I think, until the 90s. So so that's why you probably won't, you don't feel like you don't see a lot of Wonder Man art,
And this will surprise people even more, is that I picked a cover to a book that Jim Shooter wrote.
This is one of the issues that he had written.
Yeah, it's one of the Korvac stories. I mean, I have great fondness for that Korvac run, and I have absolute disdain for almost everything else that Jim Shooter did from that point forward. I like his Legion, and I like the Korvac stuff in the Avengers.
I like the Defiant stories. I thought those were interesting. Good concepts.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you mean the Defiant publisher?
Yeah, so the Dark Dominion and so forth. Interesting ideas.
Okay. Great. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed that one. That was only for you, Tom. So I hope you really enjoyed it. And let's see what Heidjer has picked for the next one. Let's see what mainstream art we have on tap. Well, it's pretty mainstream. It's just not superheroes. But this is a gorgeous, gorgeous page by Russ Heath from Our Army at War. What a shame that Peter Rowe is not with us tonight. He would be loving this. He would be loving all the war art we picked for him tonight. But that's okay. I hope you're doing well, Peter. 1974. This one sold for $4,080.
So this is
my favorite. Just wanted to say, Heidjer, my favorite panel is the second to last one.
Yeah.
This whole I've been wanting to buy a Russ Heath page for a while now, and this one, it's interesting. I always bemoan that the modern comics, again, going that they don't have word bubbles on. They don't have any word bubbles anymore. And then they had the stick-ons before, and I'd like to hand lettered stuff. But this is an example where you don't need them, and there weren't any. And there's a big to-do about that first G.I. Joe story that everything was just silent and so forth. Well, here it is, way before then, and the art is gorgeous. You know exactly what's going on, and it's dynamic. I mean, those hands coming out of the water there, just that is just it is just an amazing page.
And I love that his knife. I love this shot of him right here with the knife
underwater,
being held in his teeth. Yeah,
and even little things. If you look at where he's dropping his the breathing tube, and there's just like a little bubble as let go. It's just little details that are just nice on this.
Sorry, which panel?
So like looking at that second panel, he's putting the breathing tube away, and there's just a little bubble there. It's nice. It's so detailed and in how it goes in how it sets forth the story. It's just really well laid out.
Look what Rick says. The page is awesome when he says, "I'm not a war art collector, but for this, I would make an exception."
Yeah.
When you step out of your comfort zone and buy stuff you normally don't care for, that means the art's got to be really nice, really well done. So, Marcus he's got to be a bit of a, want to take away some credit from Heath and say, well, Starenko did it first. Did what first? What precisely did he do here? What are you referring to, Marcus? Because I really want to know about that. What exactly did he do first? What are you referring to? The knife in the teeth, the underwater shot? What are you talking about?
Must have blown bubbles through
Get busy
straw.
typing. He's referring.
Silent sequences go back way before Starenko, my friend.
Way back.
Way before.
Yeah.
Back to the Yellow Kid.
Yeah, and Jason also agrees that he would make an exception and buy a piece like this because it's so awesome. Yeah, so that's
so I think this one went for around $6,000 or something like that, and well, I mean, again, a little detail. If you look at the second panel again,
this one only sold for $4,080.
$4,000. Okay, even less. I mean, if you look at again second panel, look at the way the little waves around the waist of the soldier coming down the road. It's sort of those details. It's the little stuff that really makes this.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. Mike says that Charlie Chaplin did it first. That strips for the illiterate audience. Nice. Elias from Fables page. You just ruined the surprise. Thanks, Tom. Yeah. Let me get this and go back down again. Yeah, one last look here as we go down, and just Just fabulous. The way he grabs him in that fourth panel and then just gets on top of him and just starts wailing away at him with the knife, man. That's vicious and violent.
Well, you don't show the hero's face when he's doing something unpleasant, so you keep them in shadow so you can maintain heroism.
And you can feel the breath coming in the last one where he's just like breathing through the exertion, the water dripping off his face. It's just awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic. So, yeah, great pick. I would have picked it had you not picked it. So, yeah, very awesome. Okay. All right. Matt, you ready for yours?
Sure.
All right.
Sock it to me.
Sock it to me, baby. Woo! This would have been my pick.
Another big surprise. Yeah.
There you go, Tom. Stop crying now. All right. Let's close.
That is John Byrne's first Magneto splash page.
Yep. Classic.
I think it's the first time he ever drew the character.
Yeah. Is it so 111, 112? Yeah, that's right. Because I mean, he only took over with 108, so that would absolutely be the absolute correct. Yeah, exactly.
And so he's on the cover of the next issue, I think.
Yeah, that's right. 112. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, with the underground in the volcano or whatever that issue. Yeah, for the interest of those of you who are interested in such things, this one sold for $156,000. So only a bit cheaper than the Avengers piece, was it? Let me see. A bit cheaper than the 12,000 cheaper than the Avengers cover. So
a splash page that's only that much less than a cover in the same era.
Yeah,
but it's a historic piece, and I felt like I had to pick it.
I think it's better than the cover, honestly. Personally,
it is better than the cover of that issue, which I think is actually, no, I'm going to take that back. But I think that Byrne didn't do the cover. I think Cockrum did the cover. It's the
Oh yeah, that's right. It's a Cockrum cover. That's right. It's the yellow background cover. It's the redo of X-Men #1, basically. It's an
the cover. That's the next issue. That's the next issue. This issue has the cover where it's like they're all performing in a circus.
No, is it?
I think so.
Oh man, I can't remember. It doesn't matter, anyways. But magnificent
I could be wrong,
indeed.
but I think so because he pops up as being behind this whole farce with the circus person.
Okay. Wonder who got it. I'm gonna guess, Tom. I'm going to guess it's one of the same buyers who happen to be those same buyers who soak up the vast majority of all this awesome art at every heritage auction and never end up posting it anywhere and, keeping it tucked away somewhere safe. Probably those same people is what I'm going to guess. And Dan says, see this? 156K, but the Perez was 168. I'd rather have the Avengers cover. Yeah, again, but that's your. It's a question of taste and
taste.
You know.
Would you rather have John Byrne splash page at his peak, or Perez cover before he came into his own?
Yeah, exactly. You see, you couldn't have said it any better there, right there, Matt. Yeah, exactly.
And this is the circus cover issue, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I know it's a weird thing to love, but I love the shadow of his helmet on the the points coming down. It's just such a nice detail again on that page. It's just adds to it. It's just very well balanced.
Yeah, and I can't believe none of us have said it yet, but I love the fact that it's overwhelmingly shaded, not only with ink but with Zipatone.
Zipatone.
I mean, it's got tons of, and it's practically covered in Zipatone, you know? Yeah. So, really, really fantastic. And Tom agrees with us. He'd rather have this piece over the cover. Yeah, I agree. And
I mean, it's historic. It's the first time John Byrne ever drew Magneto. And that's, when you're talking about one of the legendary X-Men artists and a very storied character, that's historically important.
Yeah, absolutely. And not to mention like Marcus says, this is much more memorable. The other one, it's a good, content-wise, it's got great content, right? It's got a bunch of the characters flying, diagonally towards you, like everybody tends to like in collecting. Yeah, but again, like we said, it's not Perez or Austin at their peak. And it just kind of falls as, one of many really cool Perez Avengers covers,
Yep.
He did many. Whereas this is like, wow, like everybody who read this remembers getting to the last page and being like, oh yeah, wow,
Yep.
right? It just slams you in the face, It's like, wow. Yeah, so absolutely.
And I love a villain page that has the villain page's name, and especially when they speak their own name. Like there's just something like so kind of cornball wonderful about that, like that these villains are so, they have such low self-esteem, they have to speak their name when they walk into the room.
Yeah, exactly. So funny. All right. Excellent pick. Let us go on to the next one. Heidjer, you're up. Look at that. What a shock. What a shock.
I had to pick a Tales of the Crypt cover. Wally Wood. It's, I think, one of two that he did. And as such, I think the last one that was up, one of the last signature auctions, went for a lot more than this one did. It's still a lot of money, but just a beautiful piece of work. The use of the shape. Weirdly enough, my favorite piece in this is the guy that's pulling the coffin up, whose face is half in shadow.
He's underlit, yeah, but it's like it's not catching him from the full in the face.
Yeah, so the light in one half and the shadow. It's just brilliant. It is a beautiful, beautiful page. That cover.
Yeah. Dan says, I see a theme with, and by the way, is the proper pronunciation, is it Staecker or Staecker?
Staecker.
Staecker, yeah. So he sees a theme, but yeah, Dan, you maybe don't remember watching. I don't know if you watched. Were you there for the show and tell that I did with Heidjer? Because if you were there, you would remember, and if you haven't, if you go to his, use the link below, go to his calf gallery, and you'll see a theme with his collecting. So it's not like he only.
In my backyard.
It's not like it's a theme with him just for tonight. So this is kind of the stuff that he likes. So big horror fan.
This could just as easily have been like an illustration for Collier's magazine, on some weird snake handling cult or something. I mean, like it's an astoundingly different cover for EC.
And it's not as
horror titles.
Yeah.
And it's not as bluntly grotesque as some of them are. If you had Ingalls go at it, and so forth. So it's and there's a lot of people in this too. It's a very busy cover in that regard.
Yeah.
And very, very nice. Let me just bring it down to the whole cover here.
I'm curious about the red line on it.
I checked that as well. The red line.
The red line?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tom's asking, Wood or Matt Baker? I'm not sure why you would compare one to the other, to be honest.
I mean, they're both known as like good illustrators of women, but I mean, I'm going to pick Wally Wood over Matt Baker any day of the week.
Yeah, me too. I think he blows them away.
I
think Matt Baker is way overrated and overhyped. I actually think he's, what I will say about Baker is that, yes, he was like, different and better than the average guy of the 1950s, in that time period. So yes, but looking back at it today, I don't think that he's even comes close to so many people that came after him. You know what I mean?
Right.
So for the time, sure. But I think he was surpassed, by the 60s. I think he was already being surpassed by many other people. So like I said, I seen some decent stuff by him, but like I said, I think it's overrated. I think people give him way too much credit, but that's just my opinion. But you seem to agree as well, Matt.
I do.
Yeah. So Wood for the win. A lot of people saying Wood. I think Wood. Here we go. Wood is good. Yeah. And horror just makes great artwork to hang for sure. Absolutely. Right, Heidjer?
Yep. Yep, absolutely.
Exactly.
And I hate to say it's kind of timeless. You know, the things that go bump in the night go, you know, Beowulf and before. You know, it's so.
Yeah.
That's why Scream sells, you know?
For sure. Marcus claims that Wood gives me wood. You know, that's not true, but I will say I really have always loved this stuff, especially his science fiction EC stuff. Yeah. And I also wanted to just give a quick honorable mention. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I really, really loved this complete story that was in this auction of the Mummy.
Yeah.
You guys notice that?
Yeah. That was on my original list.
Yeah. I thought, I can pick that one, but then I was like, yeah, it's, you know, on a show and tell, it's kind of a bit of a pain to have to show a bunch of different pages quickly because it's a complete story, whatever. So that's why I didn't pick it, you know. But I would have a wood cover if I could. Nice. Well said, Mickey. How much wood could a Reuben wood if a Reuben would get wood? I get a lot. At least 12 inches worth. That's quite a pile of wood. But that mummy story was awesome too. But yeah, this is great. And you don't see, like I said, you know, Wood's not known for his horror. So that's what makes this cool and extra special as well, you know? Yeah. So, very cool. Great pick, guys. All of them, really. Never mind what Tom says. Great picks all around. I love all the horror. I'm a horror genre fan anyway, so I love tonight's picks. So, suck it, Tom. All right. Let's go to the next one. And for that, we will see. Oh, baby. Swamp Thing number 50, page 33, 34. Beset Totalbin, 1986. $9,000 for those keeping track. And let's take a close-up look while Matt tells us a little bit about what he loves about it.
I mean, how could I not pick an origin page for the Justice League Dark? You know, this is the first appearance. They're all in that frame up in the top. It's Beset and Totalbin, who are, you know, my favorite team of artists probably ever. I've, you know, grew up knowing Steve, you know, as a teenager and just like looking forward to the next Swamp Thing book month after month. And it's a weird page. You know, the perspectives get really stretched out, and almost like the way that Sam Raimi would start using his camera, you know, from like Evil Dead 2 and beyond, like where he started doing these kind of forced perspectives. And I think that Sam took it from these guys.
How was the red rendered in the final product?
What do you mean?
I honestly don't remember.
I mean, it's the red line. It was put in there. I mean, it's not going to be red in the final issue. Why was it done in red?
You mean how does it appear in the comic book? I don't remember, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't remember. But it's probably some kind of glow effect, or, you know, to make it look sort of ethereal, you know, something like that. That's usually what the effect was made for. So, Marcus says, probably like a glow,
and
like that.
Obviously the layout is very Sistine Chapel, you know, as someone pointed out, with the two hands, and it's kind of that moment of creation too within the context of the story. This was a Crisis tie-in issue, if I'm not mistaken. And
number 50, that's correct. Number 50
post-Crisis issue, one of the two. But and there's such a, like, you can tell that Alan Moore wanted nothing to do with this Crisis nonsense. You know, he probably saw it, and yet was able to turn in the two best Crisis crossover comics, maybe of any of them.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, it's great, and this one went for $9,000, which is actually quite high when you consider how little Swamp Thing is actually on it. I feel
that's the only reason why this is not $20,000.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's great. And FYI, Heidjer,
Arcane page.
This was Matt's 11th, his extra pick, the one that he wasn't supposed to pick, but this was the last pick. He said, "Oh, how could I not pick this?" But yeah, Heidjer, did you just leave me a message? You have to.
No, don't worry about it. No big deal.
Okay, you're good. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So there we go. Excellent. All right. Okay, everybody. So now we're making great time. So rather than me just show one final piece, I'll show you a handful. I think I have 5 or 6 pieces, and then yeah, we'll do those quickly. And then you guys, if Marcus, you can let us know whatever you wanted us to talk about, whatever piece you thought was worthy of talking. Yeah, let's just do these. Get through these first, and we'll see what pieces struck you. All right. Let me see. And Rick puts a yin and yang, the yin and yang symbol, I believe that is. All right. So this is here. Let me go to mine. Okay. So I picked Lois Lane, number 106, not because aesthetically, although I do love Swan and Kurt Swan and Murphy Anderson, but this is not the most aesthetically pleasing Lois Lane cover of all time. But I thought of it. I wanted to show it because of the historic and sort of funny now in retrospect, funny nature of it. The whole "I am curious" black. For those of you who you might be watching on phones and can't read the cover copy. I'll read what is happening. Superman is opening the sarcophagus, it looks like. And he says, "Are you sure you want to go through with this, Lois?" "Yes, Superman. Close the body mold and switch on the power," which he does. And then she comes out saying, "It's important that I live the next 24 hours as a black woman." So, yeah, that's just like really of the time, I guess you would say,
What was the year on this?
Sorry, sorry. What did you ask, Heidjer?
What was the year on this?
Oh, this is from 1970. Yeah, you think it's like ahead of its time, or?
I think you just kind of wonder. It is, well, like you said, it's of the time. It's like Uhura being on the deck of the Enterprise, and at the time trying to be more aware, but you could just imagine this probably pissing off people too at the same time that we're not ready for that.
You think it might? I gotta say, and Mickey's letting us know it was ahead of its time. Absolutely, that's what I think. And you guys got to know that. No, believe me, nobody bid on this. Nobody was bidding on this because, they thought, "Oh, I want to get a great Swan Anderson cover." This one was being purchased by all the top bidders because of the historic nature of it. With the the African American turning, white turning into black, the whole "I am curious" black thing. And because of that, this thing sold for a whopping $144,000. Which for a Lois Lane, I mean, that's miles and miles and miles ahead of any previous, Lois Lane.
But this shows again, I would say, and we've gone into this before, the power of this medium, is how much the story and the context matters. It's in some ways mentioning Star Trek, just to go down that path, is that you can explore certain themes that you might not be able to talk with otherwise, but you put it in the science fiction, you put it in a comic book, you put it in something like that. It allows you to do that, and I think it is very powerful for that purpose. And it's interesting. My kids coming up. 16 and 17-year-old now that are coming through school. Graphic novels are part of it. You're looking at Persepolis and looking at some of these other ones that allow you to explore these stories, Mouse and so forth. And this may not be as deep as some of those, but in its own way, it may be actually more important and more impactful.
So the historical context for this is, of course, the 1961 novel Black Like Me, where a white man goes undercover as a black person for a length of time and writes a book about it. Seen now as sort of like a misguided attempt at understanding. But also a couple years before this comic came out, the film I Am Curious Yellow was released. And that was the first film to really cause massive lawsuits about the importation of supposedly pornographic material into the United States from Europe. It was Grove Press who purchased the book and film rights, went through a big lawsuit with it, and they ended up winning, but it was a major Supreme Court victory. So they're sort of invoking two very different things, which in a way makes it kind of two forms of exploitation of the same subject. But yeah, very historically relevant. I mean, there are definitely people who collect all those sort of double entendre Archie covers as well. I would love to own a piece of that Archie art, with like a two-way joke, on the cover that you could take the wrong way. And I'm sure that the artist intended you to.
Yeah, really amazing. I think it's a very historic piece, and yeah, I'm glad it went for that kind of money for the historic nature of it, Yeah. So it's really neat.
And I mean, if they ever make an adaptation of the Superman lore where Lois Lane is black, that's going to make this a much more historic piece of artwork. Yeah. And that is well within the realm of happening.
It is. I agree. It is.
Yep. The SNL sketch, White Like Me. Yeah, it was a take on Black Like Me.
Ooh, cats are eating for good luck. Nice. All right. Let me move on to the next one, everybody. My next pick here is V for Vendetta. Not much to say, guys, other than what I've said before in the past. I always enjoyed V for Vendetta more than I did Watchmen. I love the high contrast artwork by David Lloyd throughout the entire series.
It's like a woodcut here.
It looks like a woodcut?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I love it, and I love the fact it's beautiful. The blacks are so beautifully balanced on this page. It's got so much V content on it. Let's look at it a little more closely. Yeah, I mean, check it out. This is so good, man. I just love this.
Great, I must say, though,
FYI, this sold for $66,000. Sorry, go ahead, Matt.
How much did the one with no dialogue on it go for? We were looking at that a month and a half ago.
Oh boy, I don't remember. Sorry.
That was like the banger of V pages of all time.
I don't remember. Was it the V bang? Or was it the actual absolute bang? It was a great one. Yeah, was it?
I can't think of one that's better. It's one of the very few pages that has no dialogue and multiple panels.
Now, but would you be saying like out of the ones that have come to market, or throughout the entire book, looking at the comic book itself?
I mean, aside from covers, I would say that that's top 3 page. In my opinion, I would call that a top 3 page. That other one.
Okay.
There was some discussion on the boards that this was at least publicly a huge leap in price for V pages.
Yeah.
Is this some kind of a record for V?
Got to be
publicly. Yeah, in terms of the public ones, but it said this went for an extra 0 at the end more than most pages have been going for.
Really?
Yeah. I haven't tried
a good V page with V in several panels typically only sells for like $67,000 or $7,000.
Now that I think about it, that last one I think went for like $10,800.
Really?
Like significantly less than $60,000. Yeah. I could be mistaken, but I do remember it going for like a crazy, to what seemed like me to be a crazy low amount of money.
Okay. Yeah, it's possible. I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't really matter to me, but I just love it. I just love it because it's beautiful. So don't hate it because it's beautiful. There we go. All right. Cool. Thank you for allowing us that. Let me go now to the next one. And for that, I chose this one simply because, beautiful. The aesthetics. The aesthetics just was incredible. This is just a piece done by John Bolton for a print, a portfolio of prints. And this one's called Virtue Triumphant. And it was done in 1986. It sold for $10,800. And this is just an absolutely spectacular piece of art. Perhaps the most beautiful piece of art, or at least in the top 5, because we've seen a lot of them with incredible artwork. And just speaking strictly on aesthetics alone, I love this.
It's absolutely gorgeous. I mean, it's Bolton really is. I'm not saying he's underrated because everybody love him, but I mean, it's just amazing what he can do.
Yeah, I just think it's absolutely phenomenal. So. Hey Dan, what's up, dude? Pages with V on them haven't been below 5 figures in several years. Thanks for dropping that knowledge. Yes, sir, indeed, Ian. Very, very lovely. Ruben, the Virtue Triumphant. Thank you. So classically beautiful, stunning work. Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the kind of thing that Bolton has, that kind of style, even though this crotch hatching thing, it's not his typical style, but whatever style he uses, typically it's got a classic look to it.
If you go see some of the pages in Black Dragon that he did, I mean, this fits right. This is more effort.
Oh yeah,
but absolutely.
Yeah, Rick, great comment. Looks like this should have been drawn 80 years earlier. Yeah, exactly. It could have been exactly right. It could have been an illustration accompanying a novel, right? A story illustration, basically, from 80 years back or whatever. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, and from here, go to my next one, and I have to show this one just because I'm very fond. This one is really a combination of being nostalgic for it from when it came out. This might have been one of the earliest, if not the earliest, cover that I had been exposed to, because this was from the first year I was reading and collecting comics. And so I believe it was the first cover I had seen where the artist had taken the logo and had it affected by what was happening in the action of the artwork itself. And the fact that it had a classic villain and Doc Ock, and the fact that it was painted very, very, very rare for a very mainstream superhero Marvel comic. I just remember loving it from the time it came out, and it was so fun to see that the original come surface and come to market. So I thought that was really, really a lot of fun, and I thought, given that it's a Spidey and a classic villain in Doc Ock, and from a classic early 80s period of Spectacular Spider-Man, I'm honestly shocked that this only went for the very, very low 5 figures, exactly $11,400. Really?
It's not a very good painting.
Well, look, it's not like he was a painter, but again, you look at it as if it's coloring, right? It's not like he was a great painter, but compared to the coloring in comics at the time, it really gave it a really different, really cool look
going on there. The proportion is way off. It's
like he's breaking his arms there because he's wrapping him tight and stuff. Yeah, but it's not that. It's for me, it's more of the overall design of it, and the fact that it's painted, and the fact that the logo is all getting smashed through.
I don't even remember that cover.
Really?
Yeah, when did that come out?
82.
82, yeah.
That's 82?
Yeah. And even Tom agrees that he thought it would go much higher. Yeah, I think
Right.
honestly,
you look at his Amazings, like his ASM covers, which are fantastic. Were frequently going for more money than I thought would, and then I realized, they're going for that because it's ASM. Spectacular Spider-Man just doesn't have the same track record, not for the artwork and not for the nostalgia factor, with a few exceptions, with some of the Zek issues and.
Trust me, it sells for a lot of money, but just not compared to ASM prices. Obviously, it's the prices on Spidey follow the popularity and the quality of the titles. So obviously, the highest prices go to the main title, Amazing, because that was the best title in story and art.
But I mean, but Amazing wasn't ever really a particularly great comic either. I mean, honestly,
you may not think so, but that was definitely, if you're going to only read one Spidey comic, Amazing was the one to stick with.
Well, that's like saying if you're only going to drink orange juice, like it's got to be, I don't know, Tropicana or something, which is probably the wrong choice. But I mean, like, I think that ASM gets a really bizarrely high level across the board because people like the character Spider-Man. That's the title that introduced all these characters. But it's not like they were really great comics.
No, the title gets the most of the attention because it's the classic long-running original title. Yeah. And it had several great runs by several different artists that are remembered fondly,
Yeah.
So either way, Tom and I are the only fans of this cover. That's okay. I'll move it on to the next piece, and I believe, is this my last piece? What is it? I think I may have one or two left. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I had to show this one. This is my last piece, everybody.
Jim Lee, Magneto?
Yeah, because I thought, we were showing the John Byrne, Terry Austin Magneto, and I remember when this one came out, and I was super hyped on Jim Lee, Scott Williams. I mean, I think this is at the peak of their powers. And, I remember when this came out thinking, oh, wow, this is awesome, just like that one from Byrne Austin, right?
My favorite Jim Lee page is in that comic, but it's not that page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and what's on the page?
It's poolside, and you've got Psylocke is walking, and she takes her towel off, and you got Scott Summers sitting next to Jean, and he's clearly looking at Psylocke, and she's like slapping him in the head. It's just amazing sequence of long panels. And I remember seeing that, and I'm like, I've never seen anybody articulate something so mundane with such aplomb. Like it's just a great concept, and it's got a little bit of fan service in it, of course. But I also I love those long, thin panel layouts that he started doing in his X-Men, the same way that McFarlane started doing it in his Spider-Man title. These long panels. But yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, and I was looking at that too, and I'm like, I don't love to pick Jim Lee stuff because I think he gets so much attention, but it is a beautiful page.
Yeah, I mean, typically, I also kind of try to avoid the obvious choices, the ones that most people will pick or whatever. But I don't pick Jim Lee stuff often because of that reason. So I thought, once in a while, I mean, this is, I remember this fondly. It's classic and just beautifully, beautifully drawn, so I was just like, okay, I got to do this. Huh?
Is that Zipatone on there or is that inked?
Oh, no, Zipatone for sure, yeah. Here, let me zoom in on the zip at the top here and the bottom, but yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's also, Magneto as babyface, which is, good thing.
Yeah. Actually, guys, let me see here. So hold on. Rick loves the inking on this. Yeah, I think it's absolutely stunning. And Dan says, I'm more inclined to this Magneto over the Byrne Magneto. Interesting. But listen, everybody's got their it's real your own
better
taste,
costume,
right?
100% better costume for sure, and it had evolved at that point.
I do have one more, everybody. Let me do my last one here, and this one also a nostalgia pick, because I was a huge fan of this guest star long before, well, basically from 1982, when when I was picking up his guest appearances, and nobody
Captain
really talked
Carrot.
about him. Nobody thought about him. Nobody thought about him very much at all. Nobody really talked about him. He wasn't really anybody special until about 4 or 5 years after this. So let me show you that.
Son of Satan.
Here we go.
Oh, the Punisher.
So Captain America 241 cover by early Frank Miller, inked by Bob McLeod, 1980. This one sold for a whopping $228,000, guys. And yeah, I mean, it's just
Like
a
Miller,
classic early Miller, an early guest star, Punisher guest starring appearance from before he became a popular hot character, when he was just a kick-ass sort of guest appearance type character. And Miller's Daredevil here in Captain America, Spider-Man, yeah. And so yeah, that's basically why I wanted to show it. I was so happy to see this actually come to market, just because it's very fond memories for me. So I thought,
look at that belt. Look at those boots.
Like
what did you say before boots?
The boots are. I mean, the boots were always terrible. The white boots before they started giving him like realistic street gear, when he was still dressed like a reject from off-Broadway play. But that double bullet belt is silly as hell.
Oh, I didn't even notice that it's a double. Interesting. That's weird.
And it doesn't look like a skull. It looks like a mustachioed man on his chest.
Yeah. Like it's covering up the mouth part there of the skull. Yeah, it's kind of weird. I wonder if that's how he was appearing in the other guest appearances at the time, or if that was just some weird thing.
I think Miller just misdrew it, probably.
Yeah, it's weird,
because he wasn't like a regular character. So like, I could see that both he and McLeod getting it wrong. Although didn't McLeod ink the ASM guest appearances for like Rich Buckler?
Well,
did he draw them in Rich ink?
Which appearances did he do in Amazing Spider-Man? Where I don't think
the
Rich
Nightcrawler crossover
in
ASM. There's the Nightcrawler crossover.
Yeah, those were Ross Andrew.
Oh, those Ross Andrew. Okay, never mind then.
Yeah,
but I love Ross Andrew. Like, that's kind of the Spider-Man that I grew up seeing on the newsstand and occasionally buying. So like, I'm partial to that.
Yeah.
But when I go back and look at them, I'm like, these were okay for a 12-year-old to read.
Yeah. All right, so I posted here, guys. Marcus, you first, because you're the one who brought it up. This is your chance. If you want to bring anything up, what pieces you guys, for whatever reason, whether it was because it was beautiful or we'll play a little bit of the. I know you guys love to talk about the value so much, so if you want to point something out because you thought it sold for too much or too little, that's fine too. We got a little bit of time, so pick something or just anything you liked and wanted to talk about. That's fine, whatever. Tom says Frank loves Cav. Oh yeah, and it would never shoot him. Yeah, the 160, 161. Andrew, Ross Andrew. Oh, that's right. But then 201, 202 appearances. I seem to recall McLeod inks on the covers. But who was penciling?
Maybe that's where it's coming from in my head.
Okay.
Like my wires have crossed.
Okay, maybe. All right, Marcus is answering. So Hannigan, Gamble, and Geis Action 691 cover. What about it? I mean, I have to tell you, I love that storyline, right? The part of the whole Death of Superman story. But that was the third out of the 4 story arcs, right? And that was Reign of the Supermen. So cool to see, because I just like seeing anything from Reign of Superman. And I love Geis and I love Gamble. Not a big fan of the Gamel-Geist combination, though, simply because they both have their own distinctive styles, and together, one always overpowers the other. So Geist inking Gamel, you don't really see Gamel, you see Geist anyways, you know?
Super busy cover, too.
And that's the other thing, is that this particular cover, too much going on with, like, you know, full body shots plus headshots floating above. Busy. So I wasn't a big fan of it, but of course, as a fan of the storyline, I was curious to see how much it would go for.
It came framed too, right? It came framed with the comic and some Superman logo on a brown mat with a black frame. None of these would be my particular design choices, but what did it go for?
Like 50,000 or whatever. 50,000. I think just above 50,000. I think it was.
Sounds like a lot to me. I mean,
well, no, but like a lot of that Death of Superman stuff, like panel pages and you know, important panel pages and splashes, half splashes, they seem to have gone for many tens of thousands.
Yeah, but this is Reign of the Superman. This isn't Death of Superman. This is, you know, the antidote for the disease nobody wanted.
But it's all part and parcel of the whole four story arc storyline. And to be honest, most people, if they tell you out of the 4 parts, which was your favorite, most people that I talk to, thank God, agree with me that, like, the actual Death of Superman arc, the first arc, it's kind of garbage. Like, there's nothing happens. It's just this long, drawn-out 5 or 6 issue fight sequence.
Yeah, it's like Scott Zott's Destroy.
It doesn't really take until you get to Steel. Then it really takes off.
Oh, then it gets good. I love when Steel.
I like the black suit. I like the black suit Superman, and that covers a black suit Superman. But I mean, I was long out of that title, honestly. By the time any of that stuff was in, I knew that was a cash grab. I knew it wasn't going to be any good. And when I did kind of pick it up off and read it on the newsstand, and when I got a collection, I was like, did I ever read these? And I kind of went and read them. And I actually liked Kerry Gamel's artwork better than I remembered liking his artwork. But I was also kind of like, wow, I can't believe the circulation these books had at the time. Like,
yeah, right time for sure. You know, look, like Mickey says, the aftermath of the Death of Superman is highly collected. Absolutely, because to get back to the thought I was trying to express is that most people, when I people who read it and enjoyed the whole storyline as a whole, when we talk about, well, which of the 4 arcs was your favorite, did you like best? Most of the people that I talk to will say Reign of the Superman as their favorite one, and some people will say Return of Superman. For me, it's Reign of the Superman. When they introduced that god awful Steel, Cyborg Superman, Superboy, and Eradicator. So that's why I'm not surprised at all that this piece went for $50,000. And in fact, also, Matt, keep in mind that the John Bogdanov collection that he keeps selling, he had, and keeping in mind that he at the time, although he has now over the decades grown on people, including myself. At the time, he was the least liked of the 4 main artists on the Superman titles. But his stuff, some of his pieces have sold for well into the tens of thousands of dollars. I think some pieces have sold for 6 figures even.
Sure. I mean, Adam and Indy Kubert covers sell for $30,000. I mean, to each their own. I mean, like, I guess it's what demographic of collector got wealthy later in life is really what it comes down to. And unsurprisingly, it's the people that have money, who probably went into some kind of finance or some kind of data programming, didn't necessarily have the best taste in comics.
I'm not going to go there.
I have to say something spicy. What would you have me on for? I think that at least with the DC stuff and the people who collect it, they were clearly readers. There was a story. I mean, it was a little convoluted, but basically well plotted. I'll say. I just didn't care.
Man, at that time, what wasn't convoluted? I mean, it was the time of the huge crossover arcs, like 14-issue crossover with 14-issue miniseries with the crossovers all over the place.
Yeah.
I mean, there was one that I was just looking at that I completely forgot about involving Quasar. I was like, I don't even remember this coming out. It's just that cosmic stuff I wasn't a big fan of either. But really any of those crossover stuff wasn't really my bag. If it was like 2 issues, like I guess the Death of Kraven was, I think it's overrated in that I think that it gets a lot more hype than it probably deserves, but it's still pretty damn good. And the way they did that of doing 2 issues across each of the 3 Spider-Man titles to get you reading all the titles was great. But I think that came after the death of Jean DeWolf, where they did the same thing, where they did like a little bit of a crossover between a couple of the titles to tell that story in 4 issues. One being Peter David, the other one being, I think, David Michelinie. But Michelini, sorry, I always say Michelinie. Michelini. But the Reign of the Supermen wasn't as crazy as like Crisis or like Secret Wars 2, where it would take 78 comics, basically to fill the whole collection. That was a merciful crossover in a lot of ways. It was just across the 4 Superman titles. Yeah.
Mickey's sending you a message, Matt.
We don't care that you don't care, Matt. Hey, you can always turn me off. You can always mute me. But I think in the long run, what becomes valuable to the collective rather than valuable to one person, and this is where things become obvious, right? If you're a deep collector of a side character and that side character never kind of crosses over, if you decide that you want to kind of sell it to get kind of back invested in whatever it is you need money for, it becomes hard to unload that stuff. Things like Superman and Spider-Man are going to be touchstones for people because they know the IP. So they're always kind of a good investment. Like I've always, until there were like a new X-Men series.
Nothing's a better investment than Main Street characters. That's a fact.
Yeah. Well,
right?
Yes and no. I mean, like there are bad Wolverine comics that the art isn't worth anything. There's bad renditions of Ghost Rider where you can pick it up for pennies on the dollar. But I mean, by and large, until the recent era where a story arc was 12 issues or less, and they just keep rebooting it. In that era of Reign of the Superman, that was only the first reboot of Superman. I mean, like that's sort of important, historically, where it comes so soon after the first death of a long-term character, and the kind of slow walk back is kind of important. I get why people that might have been the first comics they read because they saw in the news that Superman was dead. And so like that brought them into a comic shop, and that's what was available, and that's what they bought and hooked them. So that makes a lot more sense to me than a lot of the other things that tend to get high dollar value that seems to be well out of step, not only with the quality of the product, but for the availability and prolificness of the artists. And like you said, that 4th Superman artist, that people didn't particularly care for at the time, I mean, that made him a smarter buy. While everybody else was buying up, Butch Geist or whatever, then you could have been buying up this other guy's stuff, and it's all of a.
Yeah, and like Caesar points out, Bogdanov is now reaping the benefits of holding on to all that art.
Yeah.
So even though he was the least popular guy, and some would say, including me, the only one out of the 4 that a lot of people disliked, actually, not only least popular, because that still indicates he was popular. I would actually say most people disliked him and liked the artwork on the other 3 titles, So good for him. I'm glad. But like I said, it has grown on me as I've seen it come out more onto the market, and I look at it now and I'm like, it's grown on me. So it's not as bad as I used to think it was. I did want to switch gears here real quick because I don't want to fall too behind on the comments. Dan pointed this one out, and I'm sorry, Dan. Personally, this is one of the ones I don't remember because I guess like I said, I'm going through 800 things to pick out for the show, and I didn't notice this. Al Williamson, George. That was I mean, listen, I imagine it's got to be beautiful because all of Williamson stuff is beautiful at EC, right? But I don't remember what it is. So, but thank you for pointing it out, anyways, Dan.
Let me throw one in here as well. One that I picked out and I took it out again. There's been a couple of covers on there because there's something about the series that is just intrigues me completely. The Brent Anderson cover to Strike Force Morituri.
Right.
And that series, I just keep on looking at it, kind of going, that was a cool series. Now that they maybe Disney doesn't want to include more suicidal heroes in their offerings, but I mean that one seems like something that would be right for production. I keep on looking at it, it's such a cool idea, and it went
a new universe title, so it doesn't connect in any way to the Marvel universe.
Yeah,
and that doesn't seem to be the direction that they're pursuing.
Mickey wants you to know, by the way, that it's all in good fun, Matt.
I figured.
Wait, Superman died? Spoilers. Yeah.
Not only did he die, he had children afterwards.
Yeah, he drew very like Superman. Exactly. Not to everyone's liking. Captain Marvel died. It was far more emotional to me. Well, shit, that was cancer related. So, yeah, of course, that was different. It was so that was the first time they did an actual death that you could relate to on a human level, not some cheesy whatever.
The original heavy superhero story.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, that and Superman, the death of Superman, they led up to, again, it was a long road to get there. So, I mean, you knew it wasn't surprising.
Yeah.
Marcus, I just wanted to say, to your point about Watchmen, I think in this case, it's not what you think it is. Marcus says that the Watchmen 1 page ended at 57 and is already has an after auction make an offer to owner at 97,000. I don't think it's what you think it is. It's simply that the winner, he already has the account set. So
make an offer.
Right.
30%
set to make
above.
An offer, and you already have it set to whatever percentage you want it to be above what you paid for it. And so everything he buys will end up having that make an offer set to it as soon as the auction's over. As soon as he wins it, it'll be showing like that, So, yeah.
And
so that's
not a great Watchmen page, by the way.
No. Yeah, exactly. And what's the other one I wanted to point out? Caesar. So, yeah. You thought the Hannigan, interesting. You thought the Hannigan Gamble cover went cheap. Interesting. I thought it was kind of expensive because it had those future Teen Titans, which I can't honestly believe anybody gave a crap about. Even I was a huge Titans fan, and I didn't give a crap about those characters. To this day, I still don't. So, yeah, I don't know. I thought I was like, oh wow, $4,000 or whatever, just over $4,000. Like, oh, that's pretty strong. But again, different strokes for different folks, I guess. What else? Yes, but let me see. Yeah, but that's what I'm telling you. It's not it's not a net amount. It's that at a certain point he went into his account and he was looking at the whole, make an offer thing, and the what do you call it? The default? The default is already at 30%. Okay, so the default already puts you at 30% above what you paid. And then he must have been looking at that, and he has the option of, change or set to whatever number you want. So he probably put 45 or 50% or whatever, just
And I think Heritage does it automatically unless you opt out.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Although it's kind of screwy because for some people it seems to happen, and I've had plenty of people tell me, well, that didn't happen to me, and I never opted in, and it's not activated. So yeah, it's weird. It works on some people and others it doesn't. So, Don't know what to say. So yeah, so it's not about the 40 extra. It's just everything he buys, it will say that same, whatever that percentage works out to, everything he wins will show as being available to make an offer at that same percentage increase. That's all.
So he's a professional auction buyer is basically his job at this point.
And no, but don't forget, it could simply be a situation where it's like, I don't mind getting offers on my stuff that I win. They're not for sale, but I don't mind getting offers, but just be serious or don't bother me. It's one of those guys.
Sure.
If he's one of those guys, he's thinking, look, you want to give me 50% immediately or soon after whatever on what I paid? Yeah, I guess I'll take the offer, I'm assuming it's there's a good chance it's that as opposed to, I'm only winning stuff so that I can leave this feature on and make people can hopefully make me an offer at like 50% above what I paid,
I've certainly done that, on my own site where I have something that I don't really want to sell, but if someone offers me that much, I'll take it.
Yeah, exactly. And no, I wouldn't, Alberto.
To me, honestly, like anything after Burn, I didn't even really care about. So even like going into the Death of Superman, I was kind of like, oh, my guy's already off the title.
Yeah. Mickey says a lot of those offers are not accepted, so it's not a buy it now. I can tell you guys, interestingly enough, I was in there a few months ago looking around just to see how that feature worked, and I found the page where they gave statistics on it. They by Heritage's own numbers, they say that in that Moto section, they call it Moto, M-O-T-O, so it's make, offer. I don't know what the TO is, I forget, but on that,
to owner, maybe. Make offer.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's it. That's right. Make offer to owner. Exactly. Thank you, Heidjer. So in that section, they say, Heritage themselves says that the acceptance rate is only somewhere between, I think they said 2 to 3% out of all the offers that are made or whatever.
Then it's odd that they have it.
It's odd that what?
It's odd that they would keep it if it has such a low success ratio.
Well, it doesn't cost them anything.
Yeah.
It costs them memory, I guess. Costs them RAM.
Everything that he buys goes into a make an offer, and he turns off the selected pages. Yeah.
Interesting.
Lee wants to know, anybody want to talk about that Wolverine #1? I will only say, Lee, and these guys can say whatever they feel like it if they have anything to say about it. I will say that as soon as I saw it months ago, ready to be put into this auction, I figured it would go for around $500,000. That was my guess. So give or take $100,000. And so I was right because it was $500,000. Give $100,000 to make it 600,000. So, yeah, that's all I have to say. So to me, that's I was spot on pretty much on that one. I don't know. You guys have anything to say about that?
I love John Buscema. I've always hated that cover.
Well, this is something I heard. I forgot where I heard it. It was in one of the streams. Art versus artifact.
Yeah.
Kenny, what's up? Long time no speak. Woo! What's up? Sorry, Heidjer.
No worries. It's the artwork versus artifact. As you tonight, I try to go more for the art than the artifact. I see that as an artifact. The cover really didn't do much for me. For that matter, neither the Miller cover that you showed before, but that's my taste.
Yeah, I'm with you on both. I mean, I don't like a lot of the Buscema covers on that Wolverine run. I think a lot of them are really, really bad, and some of them are considered classic covers. So, I guess there you have it.
I'm curious, Tom. Why would you hope that it would hit $1 million, though? I'm just curious because I know you're not the owner of it. So, what would that do for you? Why would you be happy if you saw Wolverine 1 from 1988 hit $1 million? Because I don't know. It's funny. Like, I feel like, I don't know about you, Heidjer, you, Matt, how you feel about it. The more they go to these insane prices that are just fantasies for most, like 99% of us, the more I kind of get turned off by the hobby as a whole.
I'm almost there. I mean, like I've drastically been rethinking, why do I buy what I buy? Am I going to continue buying what I buy? Am I going to go back into what the original stuff I collected was, which is seemingly the direction that I'm going in? But meanwhile, I've got all this other art. So it's kind of like, some of it I love, some of it I don't particularly care for, or I was purchasing for, I might have liked it at one point, but fell out of love with it, or didn't like reading the comics, didn't like what they did with the character. I mean, any reasons why anyone would want to stop collecting comics is a reason to stop collecting art. But a lot of what has turned me off to the hobby in general has just been this kind of stupid money that's coming in from outside the hobby. And if they're buying dumb stuff, I'm all for it. That's great. If they're buying stuff that I don't want, I don't have, I don't care about, then I'm happy that they're buying art. But there's also that aspect of, I still collect. So like, if I want stuff and these prices are going insane, then my ability to get what I want has been greatly, greatly diminished. If I had every other Wolverine cover that John Buscema did, and that cover sells for $600,000, then yeah, I'd feel really good about it, because I would rapidly sell those other John Buscemas, but I wouldn't have held on to them this long because it's just not my thing. But certainly we know sellers and dealers that are really collector sellers, that they're not necessarily repping new artists, they're representing archival stuff. And so they're constantly, they've got a massive backlog of stuff, whether you're talking about, Mike or Anthony, or, a lot of the kind of archival art collector dealers. They have to go to shows because they're buying and trading and selling stuff. They've got massive stockpiles of stuff that 9/10 of us do not care about at any price. But at some point, somebody will. And so then they're sitting on a gold mine. I don't know how they balance that with what's selling to be able to keep them in business to continue to buy and sell.
Was this comment by Marcus directed at you guys as we talked about Wolverine? What does this mean? Who has issue 2 of what? We're talking about Wolverine.
I think when you were asking, why do you want it to hit, $1 million? I think Marcus's response is he must have issue 2.
Tom has issue 2.
Yeah. Oh, maybe.
Which would make sense. I don't know that he does.
But look what Tom says. So Tom's answer to why he would want to see it hit $1 million says it's just nice for the owner. Well, obviously it's nice for the owner, although that doesn't, shouldn't mean anything to us since we don't even know who it is. It's good for the market. See, I don't agree for that. I don't agree on that. Many of us own large collections, so not hard to sell to buy, right? So similar to what Mandel's, right? Well, similar to what a good portion of this hobby does and has been doing for many, many years already, using their own collections as a way to be able to stay in a hobby that they would otherwise be priced out of already and fund new purchases. So if that's what you're saying, okay, I can buy that, if you had it and hey, look at that, 500 grand in my pocket. I'm still collecting. So I loosen $500,000 and now I got a ton of shit I can buy with $500,000. I get that. So that's cool. Yeah. But I still want to reemphasize that I disagree about it being good for the market. I don't think it's good for the market.
So this brings up the Lucas Museum. I mean, there's buyers out there, and there's only so much that the Lucas Museum can show as well. But I mean, with stuff going into archives at Ohio State or going to the Lucas Museum, I mean, is this
two Lucas museums
because of that, or is that going to shoot everything up even higher?
Yeah, there's 2 Lucas museums because they're also working on a Las Vegas project. But when they were just breaking ground for the first museum, I had that Star Wars show up where the guy had painted Star Wars characters on these irreparably damaged pieces from the Renaissance and up to like the 19th century. And they're great. It was a great way of kind of like getting value out of something that really wasn't even worth repairing. And the paintings were great. The guy that was his assistant that was painting the actual artworks was a master level painter. And as a painter with his own name on pieces, wasn't making much money. But as part of this project, in doing these kind of Star Wars objects injected into Renaissance pieces, it became very novel. And, you know, I invited them to come take a look, and they looked at the show like, oh, these are cool. We got way too much Star Wars stuff. Would rather talk to you about, and then shifted attention to the Panic Collective pieces that we had in the walls, which was, because the museum is figurative narrative art. That's what the first one, the Lucas Museum in LA, is. It's figurative narrative art. Everybody was assuming there was going to be a huge Star Wars component to it. Lucasfilms as an entity has the right of first refusal to purchase the artwork that's on the covers of their publications. And so for a long time, they were buying like every cover, and then they just stopped doing that. And so now that's how a lot of that Star Wars art ended up kind of hitting the general marketplace, that the artists were allowed to sell it. But for a very long time, they weren't. So, I mean, a second museum and how that might impact the hobby at large, or why it would be good or bad for a Wolverine #1 cover to go for $1 million. I mean, you could hope that it has that same effect that Mike Zeck page had, right? That Mike Zeck's work did take a small uptick overall when that Secret Wars page, you know, sold for $3.2 million or whatever. But I think it's discouraging for young collectors. It's going to make it a rich man only hobby.
Somebody asked about the aging, the vintage market going down as collectors age out, and I don't think so. I mean, if you looked at even the Heritage auction this week, the Golden Age stuff isn't getting cheaper. It's not suddenly going out in fire sales, and the EC stuff is only going up.
Yeah,
this is Stanley, by the way, Heidjer, famous for coming in at the last second, as he can feel we're going to close out the show, and he likes to have it go on forever. So this is his way of trying to get some kind of a topic going that'll last another half hour, you know.
I think what might be an interesting thing is we've got several important IPs that are going to go public domain in the next couple of years, including Batman, right? So, what in 2020 is it? When does Batman go public domain? It's 2028.
But is that official? Because I heard that no, it doesn't mean that any Tom, Dick, and Harry can go and start drawing and writing and publishing their own Batman stories.
I mean, we'll have to see who challenges it.
I have to believe that. I have to believe that.
We'll have to see who challenges it. So, like Steamboat, you can do a Steamboat Willie cartoon. You can do a movie with Steamboat Willie as a character.
That's what. Yeah, I know, but that's what I'm saying. That's not.
Can't call him Mickey Mouse. Right. But soon, Mickey Mouse is going to enter the public domain, and you will be able to make Mickey Mouse stuff.
So you think? You think in 2028, you and me and Heidjer can get together and write up a nice little Batman story, and as long as we call him the Flying Creature. Okay.
You should be able to call him Batman.
You can call him Batman, but if you make him look like Kelly Jones's Batman, no.
That's not the character. Yeah, it has to be that 1938 Batman that it looks like, and you have to keep it to that time. So you notice that
drawing it, you have to keep drawing it like Golden Age artists.
Yeah, because that's what was under copyright.
Well,
and that's
in their style, or you mean how the costume looks like, the
character has a certain trademark to it,
right? The design.
Yeah. So you notice the S on the James Gunn Superman suit is a much older looking S, going back to like the 1930s. If they do this movie and it comes out, you know, before Superman enters the public domain, then all of a sudden they have a very similar version that isn't the original version that now they can say there will be marketplace confusion about. So I mean, they're gonna fight it 100%. They've got too much money invested in not fighting it.
Yeah, well,
but how it comes out is going to be what matters.
That's what Evgeny is saying. Is there a way that DC finds a way to trademark Batman? That's what I'm saying. I'm saying these guys have, like, I don't know, over the long term, how valuable is that IP, Batman? I mean, is it hundreds of millions, or because of the movies making.
Well, we know it's billions. We know it's billions.
It's got to be billions, right? So I just can't see a corporation allowing that to happen, and I can't imagine the law allowing that to happen to the owner of a property like that. I just can't see that happening.
I guess a couple of things is what's good about copyright law is that whoever owns the copyright is going to immediately lose the property, but now the original family could now possibly interject into the formula and get some money out of it. So like in 2030, when Captain America becomes public domain, will the Kirby family be able to file an injunction that's better than what they're getting from Marvel right now? I don't know. Like copyright law is really, really complicated, and it really depends on the judge you get in the court you get, what district, what circuit. A lot of people that file copyright trolling stuff do so in Texas because Texas judges have a habit of being online with whoever has a copyright. If you're in New York, it depends. I mean, most courts will take a creator versus a corporation stance. If you're in, the third district, I think, which is Washington, D.C., it can be a real toss-up depending upon the judge that you get, what kind of judgment you're going to get. But I would imagine that whoever is Winnie the Pooh went public domain. They did that Winnie the Pooh horror film, and they already have a sequel in the works. So Disney did not fight them on Winnie the Pooh.
Right.
So I mean, and the thing with the copyright, it's a creation that's affixed in a tangible medium, as they put it. So it's exactly what you copyright right then and there. So all the different, depending on how diligent DC has been about maintaining the copyright, or Marvel or whoever, it's whatever that looks like or is written down or whatever at that point. So the Adam West Batman is going to be different than the Kelly Jones or the what have you. They're all separate, and each time you file it, the clock starts again.
Yeah. Now, from a practical point of view, every company knows that a copyright only lasts a certain amount of time. So whether or not your investment has just started to pay off 74 years in and you're going to lose it in 75, that's on you. That's your poor investment strategy. That should not confuse a court. So, the idea of a corporation allowing it to happen, they can keep you in litigation forever, but it doesn't seem like they're doing that. Like if they didn't do it for Winnie the Pooh, they got an extension on Mickey Mouse for Steamboat Willie forever. So it's kind of like it is the last straw. But again, it's not the same Mickey Mouse that appears in future cartoons. And since they've always changed Mickey Mouse and re-trademarked it, it's going to be harder for someone to actually do Mickey Mouse and for it not to be seen as a marketplace confusion issue, which is different than a trademark, which is different from a copyright, but they're related. So here's a great example. I released a film that was released in Japan as Tokyo Psycho. At the same time, this is 15, 16 years ago. Another company bought a Japanese film that the original title was Porno Star, and they wanted to release it as Tokyo Psycho. Now, we had already trademarked Tokyo Psycho, and our artwork was already in the marketplace, and within 2 months, this other company was going to have this competing title, which was it was just arbitrarily called Tokyo Psycho. It's not even a legacy title. And so we got an injunction against them, and they had to keep their product off the market. Like fools, they hadn't checked to see if there was a copyright on that title for DVD, which is what it was for at that time. And two, they went and printed it up. So they weren't taking the right steps to guarantee that they had even the ability to do a title change on a property they owned. But I can also almost guarantee, knowing the company that they bought the film from, that they would have had a problem with them changing the title. So I probably ended up doing them a favor. But I was able to get an injunction in place to have their product removed, and it would not get carried on Amazon, and they did end up changing the title back because they thought that they wouldn't sell as many with the title Porno Star because it's not really a porno film. It's just the title. but that's one example of how injunctions work. And that was it was a marketplace confusion issue, not a trademark, not a copyright.
All right. And with that, everybody, that brings us to the conclusion of tonight's episode, which...
what about the beavers?
The beavers who smell like ass, we won't talk about that anymore. You'll have to rewind and listen to that at the beginning again if you want to know about the beavers.
I will say that it brings a whole new level of understanding to the words "express yourself."
Let's not bring Madonna into the whole gland discussion.
Yes, expressing the glands.
Look at this. Rick's giving us something from Wiki. At the completion of the series, Sim directed that upon his and Gerhard's death, Cerebus would enter into the public domain. Interesting. That's fun. That's fun. So we can all start doing Cerebus comics that will make us lose our shirts. Excellent.
Yes.
Can't wait. I can't wait.
Just don't make them sexist, and maybe you'll have a chance.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, guys. Matt, Heidjer, awesome, man. Appreciate it. Thank you again. We appreciate you guys being here and doing this. It's always fun, you know. And Heidjer, it was your idea. You reached out wanting to be on this next time that we did this.
And I think I've touched your viewers, so that no one's coming back again if I'm on here. I know it.
Well, my next one is I'm going to definitely try to pick different people just so people don't get tired of the same people's faces. But also, it's probably a good idea just to get a different sort of art selectors. But we'll see. We'll see what I do with that. But no, thanks, guys. Like I said, hey, it's only Tom who's bitching and complaining, anyways. I'm good with you, by the way. I'm you know, if you guys always did it, I'd be okay. It's only Tom who's bitching, so let's just remember that. Yeah, but thank you all, of course. Those of you who are in the chat watching live, always appreciate you more than anybody. Aside from my in-studio guests, thank you to those of you watching on Rewind. Appreciate you as well. Wanted to say, give me a second because I know there's a couple of comments here more about beavers. Let's skip those. Thank you, Lee. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Lee.
Look at Tom trying to keep it going. We're not going to OAX, so we're not excited about seeing artists at OAX. Great job. Thank you, CJ. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, CJ.
Yeah. So, thank you, everybody. I wanted to tell all of you really quickly. You guys remember a couple of weeks ago, I did the show and tell with David Kwok, and he mentioned to me privately that he really, really, really enjoyed his time doing the show. And he didn't ask me to do this. I'm only doing it because of what he said. And he wanted to give credit to you guys, those of you who always are here supporting me every week and everything that we're doing, because he said what he really, really enjoyed most about it was how everybody in the chat is, first of all, so nice. Everybody seems to get along with each other. There doesn't seem to be anybody bitching or whatever at each other unless it's in jest, you know.
Playful bitching.
Yeah, exactly. He was really, really thankful that all of you. So this goes out as a thanks to, and he didn't ask me to do this. I'm doing it because you guys deserve it. He wanted me to know that he really loved that you guys in the chat are always so chatty, and were so kind to him. Talking about his collection, that we were showing that night. And he thought that was really, really fun. And he said that after the show, several of you went to his gallery, left him comments. And so he went into your galleries, which you guys obviously must know, left you guys comments in return. And so that's it. Just wanted you to know that it made me happy to hear that from him. Because as I always say, the biggest reason I like doing these shows is for the camaraderie of it all. So the fact that I could get a brand new guy that I just met, come in willing to do a show and be happy with how it went, and especially giving credit to the same way that I do, which is, the chat. It's the interaction with everybody in the chat. So it's not just the three of us or two of us that are on screen usually. you know, it's like several dozen of us at the same time, all getting in on it, right? And that's kind of what differentiates my channel to Cal and any other channel, whatever. And that's what it's really fun. You know, that's what it's all about. So on David Clark, I just wanted to thank you all. So there you go. Thank you.
I have to say, the thing is, I usually watch these on replay because I can't find 3 hours on Sunday evening, but at this point because of kids and so forth, and I'm like, oh, I wish I could be on the chat, but like I watch it like 3 sittings of like an hour a piece while I'm working or what have you. And so it is a shame you can't go back and comment in the chat after the fact as well.
I know, but yeah, see, that's the drawback is, see, because you can comment under the video, right? There's the comment section under every video. The problem with the format, when you're doing a live format, the viewers that were already here live don't feel any need to have to leave you a comment, right? Because and understandably, because they were already here for 3 hours leaving comments over and over, which makes total sense, right? The problem is that, unfortunately, you rewind viewers, which I love you all. I love that you love that you still watch the show. But unfortunately, the rewind viewers, like 99.9% of them, don't hit the like button, let alone take the time to leave comments, right? And that's unfortunate because, I would love to see comments in the comment section. I mean, a few of you guys are exceptions, and you do make the exception, and you do leave me comments, and I get that, and I really appreciate that. But the vast majority don't, and it is sad because I would leave everybody a reply, you know, whoever left comments underneath, and it would be nice to have those more comments underneath because those you can see right away. You can go to the video and like, okay, before I even hit play here, let me just read some comments and see what people thought about it, right? You could scroll down, read comments, whereas to read everybody's comments on a live stream, you kind of have to watch the live stream, you know? And that's the drawback, unfortunately, you know? But like I said, if it's the choice is live stream or do pre-recorded videos, right? Then I would get a lot more comments down below if it was all pre-recorded, but I don't want to do pre-recorded. There's no fun in that, right? Like, that's what I'm saying. The fun is being here and everybody, we can all talk to each other live, you know? So that's what the channel's geared towards anyway. So that's it. So thank you all. Last few comments. Great job to all of us by CJ. Thank you so much. Awesome art pick tonight, says Tom, the guy who was bitching. The guy was bitching about all the horror. But always ball busting. That is very true. That is very true. And again, that's also half the fun, isn't it? It's the ball busting, man, for sure. So for those of you going to see you in Baltimore, Ruben. I don't know what it is with you and Tom McDonald, but you will not be dragging me to Baltimore. But if you see some guy with glasses and you know, darkish hair, you know, feel free to call him by my name and hang out with him if you want. I don't know. Great video to you, to Lee. Heidjer isn't going this year.
OAX.
You're going to OAX.
Well, I'm still waiting. I mean, that's like months away. Who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah. At least somebody did. Sorry, man. I missed what comment I made for you to say that. Still on the bubble with OAX. Okay, that's it. Beaver confusion. All right, everybody. Thanks again. Appreciate you. I'm going to leave you out, as always, with the thumbnail that I left earlier. So come back next week, same time, same channel. On Friday, of course, don't forget Nick's show, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. And then here again, 8 o'clock for Hart's art claim sale. So he has already narrowed down his collection to the 25 published pieces he wanted to keep and the 25 commissions. Now he has to sort of find homes for all the other stuff that ain't going to make the cut. So we'll try to sell and find new homes for that stuff next week. So we'll leave you here with that. So that's going to be 8 o'clock again, 5 o'clock Pacific. And what do you mean, what are we selling next week? You show up next week. And you know, Caesar, that Hart is a DC guy. So you should definitely show up, of all people. You should be here next week because he's big on DC. So what is Banana Gate? I have no idea what you're talking about.
CGC.
Oh God. Okay, I don't want to get into
CGC's Inner Wells Bend.
Oh, they're still talking about that. Okay.
Yep.
All right. And I didn't know that they called it Banana Gate. Okay. Bending books of the banana. Oh, I see. That's why. Okay. Rick says great picks tonight. So great picks, gentlemen. Thank you. Appreciate it. Mickey, go see Mickey at OAX, but he won't be there for a few months because it's not until January. I know you're stoked. Price range, don't know. Price range on what? Price range for next week. Oh, I don't know. I don't remember, man. I don't think of it that way, but I don't know. Generally speaking, under 1,000. Maybe there's a few pieces above that. I think. Yeah. What does it matter, anyways, Marcus? You know damn well if anybody's going to be here, you're going to be here. We'll sell tens of dollars in art. Yeah, because if the non-marble you're crapping on him because he doesn't have marble art. Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. True OG will be there. I'm OG, and I'm not going to be there. Steve says, Mr. Quack's comments about good intentions in chat probably apply first to you, Ruben. You set the tone for the show. Oh, that's so nice of you, Steve. Thank you. That's very nice of you. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. But like I said, it's all of us, right? I love that everybody has sort of copped to what I'm trying to do here and come along for the ride. So it's awesome. It's everybody's responsible for it. So, but thank you. Build up your war chest. Exactly. And there's Marvel in the picture. Hey, there may be one or two Marvel pieces, Tom. So never give up. All right, guys. Thank you again very much for tonight and every night, every Sunday. Appreciate you. Have a great week, and we will see you next Sunday, 8:00 p.m., 5:00 Pacific. Thank you, and thanks again, Matt and Heidjer.